Okay, so yes, yesterday's stream ended abruptly, and I do apologize for that. I live like 25 minutes outside of civilization. So like literally you hit the edge of the neighboring suburb, and then it's no joke, 20 or 30 miles of cornfield. And then like literally my town there's a cornfield, you hit a pond, and the speed limit drops from 25 to 35, and then you're in this town, and this town is maybe 10 blocks. Main Street's maybe 10 blocks. And I'm really giving, two of those blocks, three of those blocks, the two at the front and the one at the end, I'm really counting those in. So really our Main Street's maybe a mile. Like the post office, the 6 banks, the 5 bars, like 4 gas stations, and then that's it. My town is a dot on the map. Well, whenever it rains, one of their junction boxes is always vandalized or open. So it rains, and then the technician has to drive out and fix it, and then we always get the message, for the next 2 to 5 hours, you're going to have intermittent service. Well, I can game on that, or I can watch a movie on that. But if I try to stream on that, then that's those days that I do like 12 minutes up, 15 minutes up, gotta start. I'm not doing that. That shit's too infuriating. I just said, you know what? I'll read a fucking book. I'll wait until tomorrow is tomorrow, and then I'll try again. Which also gave me a little bit of time to look up some stuff. But yesterday we finished the first kind of piece of filing. And the first kind of piece of filing is just a whole lot of bullshit. All truth aside, these are like last minute desperate acts for Steven to not lose his IP. And I think Steven has very much so committed perjury. That's my personal opinion. Now, my personal opinion is that he's committed perjury. I'm not saying he has committed perjury, but that's up. I believe there is enough there for the district attorney of San Diego County to bring him and John in, charge them, and let a jury of their peers decide if perjury has been committed. And I'm gonna show some of that specifically. So, because you can't lie in court filings. You can't waste the court's time. So yesterday's stream is all there. It's all put together. It's talking about Stephen and John have filed a motion to compel arbitration. What they're saying is, in the master service agreement, all offenses prior to June of 2024 must be taken to arbitration. Okay, that's fine, but it's very conceivable, very probable that Stephen filing a federal lawsuit waived his right to arbitration because he knew about the MSA. He elected to file a lawsuit, and then when Dawson and everybody countered with counterclaim, now he's saying, oh no, I have the right to bring the lawsuit because all of my things are after 2024. But even though some of your things are after 2024, I want all of your claims to be sent down to arbitration, which is the worst possible thing for Stephen anyway. Stephen doesn't want this to go to he thinks he does. And his lawyers are, Stephen is probably hearing his lawyers say, your best course of action is this. Where the lawyer is probably saying, hey, this is a loser. What happened yesterday is I got discoed, my internet went out, and then I had intermittent internet for 5 hours. So, I don't know why Stephen wanted to go to arbitration in the first place. Because in arbitration, he's fucked. Second of all, hey Splash, the judge has already pretty much said you can go ahead with an Article 9 sale now that you've reversed the commercially inappropriate, the commercially non-viable. Now, getting to know Jason, I don't think Jason was involved too much in the Article 9 sale, because he seems to be the kind of guy that crosses his T's, dots his I's. I think Rob Dawson was moving too quickly. Rob Dawson did some things in here that are bizarro, but he probably did it at a level of just sheer frustration with Steven in this sinkhole. Reading through some of the stuff, and again, Steven is the one who said, let discovery happen, but then Steven files everything important under seal. Like, let discovery happen because the truth shall out. Here's this email from Riot. I'm going to black out the whole middle of the email so that nobody knows what was said. But the truth is on my side, but I'm going to obfuscate everything that I... Like, if the truth was on my side and I was filing stuff, I wouldn't be fucking blacking out anything but PII, personal identifying information. I would be blacking out phone numbers and addresses and email addresses. I wouldn't be blocking out anything in the document. Like, if somebody's social's in the document, I'd black out the social. If an unrelated person's name is in there, I would black out everything after the first initial, everything after the last name initial. Just this person is SM. I don't get why Steven, his whole claim was the truth will out. So he wants to kick the counterclaim against him down to arbitration. Terrible fucking idea, because now, as I said yesterday, Rob Dawson has zero reason to not say, I'll see your petition, your motion to move this down to arbitration, and I'll raise you. I'm going to the San Diego Police Department against Zimmerman and Rhodes because they stole my shit. I'm going to go to the SEC against you because you potentially committed investor fraud, and I'm going to say fuck you now. We're gonna play a game because we don't need to. We're not going to get resolution with you anyway. So let's just say fuck it, right? This is what Rob Dawson's going to do to Steven.
Now let's play big bank, take little bank. Now let's play big bank, take little bank.
Steven's probably got maybe 20 million at most. At absolute most, he's got 20 million. Rob Dawson is 500. Granted, Rob Dawson is 80 million into Intrepid Studios. Rob's already at about $1 million in legal fees. That means Steven is at like $1 million in legal fees. There's no way he's at less than that, because Steven has been filing shit left, right, and center. It's all garbage. Like, this newest filing has some teeth, but the teeth come after you've thrown bullshit. Like, at this point, I've reread this morning all of Steven's filings. I don't know what Steven's goal is. Like, I don't know what the remedy he's looking for is to stop the rogue board of investors. The courts can't do that. Like, as long as you're not a publicly traded company, you can run your company into the ground. Like, Steven's like, they sabotaged the company. It's theirs to sabotage. They own it. Like, Steven said, oh, they sabotaged the company by the layoffs. What do you mean they? You were part of that. You were part and parcel of all that layoff discussion because you're the CE fucking O. Like, it's sure you didn't have to be in agreement with it, but where is your plan? Where's your presentation? Where's your evidence that says the company could have remained viable if we had taken these 5 steps? The board wouldn't allow me to take these 5 steps. Steven, you were running a company on Daddy Dawson's money. Like, you said he sabotaged you. But Rob Dawson as a person, and this is really confusing for some people, but Rob Dawson as a person and Rob Dawson as a shareholder are legally 2 different entities. Like, I know it confuses people. I am a person, and I'm also the director of I am also the director of PGN. They do have fiduciary duties to act in the best interest of the shareholders. No, they do not. Not in a non-publicly traded company. No, they do not. It's theirs to do what they want with. People keep quoting this fiduciary duty. Stephen may not even be a shareholder. Stephen claims he took X cut of the company because he put in X millions of dollars. I want to remind you, when you have a majority shareholder, if the majority shareholder, which is Rob Dawson, says, I want to do this, and this is in my best interest. It is in my best interest to strip and gut the company. It is in my best interest to lay everybody off. You really don't have a counter argument because you have a 50 plus 1% shareholder. If he says this is what's good for me, then y'all can disagree, but that's why it's ownership. Now, you're absolutely right. The opposite of that is, I'm going to use Bob Iger when Bob Iger was the CEO of Disney. Bob Iger is the CEO of Disney because I don't know what Josh owns. Bob Iger owned about 500,000 shares of Disney, making him like a 0.053% shareholder this most recent time. Bob Iger can't make decisions for Disney that benefit Bob Iger as a 0.5% shareholder, while the 99.5% are saying, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's where the difference is. But if you're the boss and you own 50% plus 1 share, then you are acting in the best interest of the shareholders. Yes, they do. I promise you they do. Fiduciary duties apply in the close-held corporations as well. Majority cannot enrich... No. See, let me stop you. I don't need you to be like, yes, they do. I promise you they do, when you're fucking wrong. Let me stop you. You're fucking wrong. Because you've switched what your first line and your second line are contradictory to each other. You said they do have fiduciary duties to act in the best interest of the shareholders. Majority shareholders cannot purposely torpedo the company. Yes, the fuck they can. So let me stop you right there. Yes, the fuck they can, because they are the majority shareholder. Once you are the majority shareholder, I'm not talking 6 or 8 people. I'm talking you have 50% plus 1. You are the fucking owner of the company. Everybody else is a shareholder. Then you say, fiduciary duties apply in closely held corporations. I don't even know what closely held corporations fucking mean. Like, what fucking terminology are you just bullshitting into the discussion? In America, there's 2 delineations. Privately held companies, publicly traded companies. If it is publicly traded, the SEC has a big long list of shit that you have to do. If it's not a publicly traded company, yes, you're a corporation. Yes, you have to act in the benefit of the shareholders. As I just explained, Rob Dawson is the majority shareholder. He is the owner. He owns more than 50%. You say they cannot enrich themselves at the expense of the majority shareholders. Yes, the motherfuck they can, because in a corporation, the law states dividends must be paid out equitably, meaning if you're going to pay out at most 15% of the revenue, the profit of the company in a given year as a dividend, you take 15%, let's say it's $100 million, you take $15 million, you put it at the top of the dividend spigot. Rob Dawson owns 50%. He gets $7.5 million. Period. Dot. There's no fucking discussion. Johnny over there that owns 2 shares gets 2 shares worth of $15 million. So I don't need you to say shit to me like I promise you they do. When we come to this, unless I'm factually incorrect, the information goes this way. Okay? Because until you're the CEO of a company that has stock, we're not on the level. Okay? Like, so tell me what company you're the CEO of so I can look it up, so I know your background. I don't need you to tell me how things work, this because I own my second company that has shares of stock. So when I tell you this is how it can work, please don't try to correct me unless you're going to say, here's a citation to where you're factually wrong. Cool? Everyone in that class of share gets X per share. Yeah, what Intrepid fucked with was giving a class that does not look like they were allowed to give. Correct. Intrepid Studios issued, I can't find any documentation where they ever filed the articles of incorporation that allowed them to create a second class of stock. That's securities fraud. Right off the bat. Rob Dawson can say, hey, I gave this guy $80 million. This guy issued me common shares, which weren't divided equitably because, and Jason and Rob together, they crushed Steven because Jason's in for north of 13 million, Rob's in for 80 million, and Steven made all these public statements that Jason's lawyers have and Rob's lawyers have, and the time dates and the stamped and the codes and the downloads and the affidavits that of the date and of the people who did the work and the creators, they have all that. So they're going to just go into court when Steven's going to have to testify at some point, and the question is going to be asked, how much money did you put into the company? He's going to give a number. And then it doesn't matter what that number is. They're going to press an exhibit that says 2 million. They're going to press a number that says 12 million. They're going to press a button that says 30 million. They're going to press a button in 55 million. And so they're going to say, well, you testified to this, but we have these 4 statements to investors. And the worst part is, it doesn't look like Steven ever even put in the initial 2 million. Steven, at very early on, Steven said, oh, I'm 2 million into Intrepid. No, he's not, because that's not in the fucking records. That's not on the fucking books. I'm going to show you some other stuff today where they get loose and fast. Yeah, no, it looks like they put in it looks like Steven put in $200. Like, I'm not being funny. It really does look like Steven put in 500, I think. If I remember correctly. Do I have the financials still pulled up on the desktop? Yeah, QuickBooks audit. Oh no, I would need the, oh wait, hold on, I think I have it. I think I have that already queued up over here. Yeah, $200. So the additional paid-in capital on 6/18 of 15 deposit, additional paid-in capital $200. It looks like Steven and John started the company with $200, not 200 million, 200. And even if he did, it seems like he sold away or diluted everything. Yeah. So this right here, to open the account, I don't know what he did. I do not know what he did. But Steven says right here that in May of 15, 9.55 million, right? But then there's not a $9.55 million entry in the QuickBooks ever. Okay? There is never that entry. Now, some people might say, Steven's lawyers might try to make, well, they didn't start the books until after the company was formed. What? What? You have your first line entry in a corporate ledger has got to be the initial money, the initial capital investment that releases the shares of stock. How do I know this? Because it's the very first line item entry in my corporate ledger, which issued the initial 10,000 shares of PGN stock to me. Now, granted, the dollar line is $10. I created 10,000 shares for $10, but it's the first fucking line. It's the first pay-in. It's like, congratulations, I give you $10, you give me a healthy baby corporation. And then you do the loans. If you're gonna, like, I did 3 loans to my company to get it started because it needs money to open the bank account. It needs money to pay for its articles of incorporation. It needs money to pay for its Illinois license, but mine specifically. So I gave it, I went onto the website. It said it's going to be $73.50 for this. So I went to the other computer. I typed up a loan agreement for $73.50 for this purpose. File it, give them the money. Bob's your uncle. So, in response to the counterclaim, and this is where they fucked up altogether. I am the third part. This is John Moore. I am the third party defendant in this action. I make this declaration in support of my motion to compel arbitration and stay action. I have personal knowledge of the facts state here within, except as to matters stated on information belief, and if called as a witness, I could and would competently testify thereto. Oh, don't worry, buddy. You're gonna get called to testify. You're gonna get called to testify, and as everybody saw this week with the Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci thing, you can't be suing somebody and then your lawyer call you and you testify, and then when you have to be crossed, you can't start invoking your Fifth Amendment rights. That you either get called, and the whole time you get called, you say, on advice of counsel, I'm not answering any questions. And to piggyback on that, I know some people think it's funny when the senators keep asking, what color is your tie? On advice of counsel, I'm not answering any questions. I'm preserving my Fifth Amendment rights. The problem is, you have to do it that way. It's one of those stupid things in the law. Because if you start answering a bunch of questions, and then you decide to invoke, well, the courts could rule that you were already answering questions. Yeah, once you invoke, you just keep invoking. Like, I say to people, military members are really good at this because they're taught their whole career the name, rank, and serial number. You get arrested by the police. This is my name. Whatever else your defense attorney has prepped you to say, mine is, this is my name, this is my attorney's name. I'm not giving you any other information. I've identified, date of birth. Because that's how they identify you as a singleton. This is my name, this is my date of birth, this is my attorney's name and phone number. I'm invoking my rights. Piss off. It sounds rough, but it's what you have to do. The Master Settlement Agreement included a provision that all disputes regarding governance and or funding of Intrepid Studios prior to June 12, 2024 are subject to mandatory arbitration. As the Master Settlement Agreement was ultimately signed by all parties, that became the effective date of the agreement, and all disputes regarding governance and or funding prior to June 12th were subject to a mandatory arbitration. The MSA was entered into with the intent to compel all disputes prior to June 12th to be resolved through arbitration to avoid the time and expense involved with filing a lawsuit. Claims dispute prior to June 12th were intended to either be released by the company in line with Section 4 or dealt with solely through arbitration in Section 12. That's great, but they didn't load the MSA, so we can't look at it. We can't see it. I am aware that Stephen Shreve filed a lawsuit and an amended complaint alleging claims in relief in part against Intrepid Studios for conduct that occurred after June 12th. Oh, okay, so you're only claiming stuff that happened after June 12th. Cool. What's the MSA say about arbitration? Because Stephen and John and their lawyers have already been caught multiple times quoting out of context that best suits their needs. I request that the court compel arbitration and stay this cross-complaint pending completion of arbitration because a majority of the conduct alleged in Intrepid Studios cross-complaint is subject to arbitration only provision in the Master Settlement Agreement and therefore cannot be litigated in federal court. Cool. Why the fuck didn't you file this the next day? Like, you should have had this shit ready. They counter complaint. Here you go. Declaration of Stephen. Exhibit A is a true and correct copy of the June Master Settlement Agreement. There's no Exhibit A. They filed that under seal. It would have been really nice. If Stephen was so confident that he is right, why not file the document publicly so everybody can see it? The Master Settlement Agreement included a provision that all disputes regarding governance, blah, blah, blah. Attached is B. The Master Settlement Agreement is entered into the intent to compel all disputes prior to June 12th to be resolved through arbitration. June 12th, sure, great. I filed a lawsuit and an amended complaint alleging for relief in part against Intrepid Studios as a nominal defendant for conduct that occurred after. Right, but the point is, what the fuck are you filing a lawsuit for? What is at this point, what is Stephen suing for? I don't even think he knows. I think he launched a lawsuit just to get bought off. Like, his ex-employees fucking hate him. Like, most of the employees have said, I would never work for Steven Sharif again. Most of them are saying, I am pissed. I left a career and now I'm unemployed. Did you know that a lot of those employees ended up in really shitty situations because Steven was always jerking around with the payroll? And I know Steven's going to turn around and say, well, it was Rob Dawson stalling. That doesn't matter, dude. You're the CEO. You're not supposed to have people like today's the 1st. Today's the 1st of August. I'm not supposed to have people work the 1st through the 14th unless I either have their payroll money, I have a bona fide signed, sealed agreement that before the 14th, I will have the payroll money, and that's it. If I don't have their payroll, no one's supposed to come to work today. I'm supposed to, if I have more than the prerequisite number of employees, I'm supposed to issue the warn notice. I'm supposed to say, look, you guys can come to work, but I'm giving you a warn notice. I don't have the money to pay you next Friday, the Friday after next. I don't have the money. Payroll's not in the bank. Come to work if you want to come to work. Don't come to work if you don't want to come to work. I can't guarantee you'll get paid. Steven didn't do that any of the times. What Steven doesn't realize is the employees' class action lawsuit against him is going to frame that he had them working and then payroll was a few days late. When the fuck, Steven in his transparent development, when did he ever tell the community that they were broke? In fact, he said to Dusty in December, no, we're not broke. This is the lawyer's statement. Okay. This is hundreds of pages, right? Well, no, it's not hundreds of pages. It's significant, but it's not hundreds of pages. This case is a shareholder dispute concerning Intrepid Studios and the MMORPG Ashes of Creation, which was created by Sharif. Intrepid's turnover motion is heavy on unfounded serious allegations, but light on any evidence to support them. It is also unclear as to the exact relief it requests. The turnover motion isn't unclear on the relief it requests. It requests all Intrepid Studios and or Ashes of Creation, anything, get turned over to the court-appointed custodian. As an example, the turnover motion includes multiple different lists of purported assets that it seeks to turn over. In addition, the motion is not clear if it requests for the assets to be turned over to a court-appointed IP custodian or to Intrepid. Okay, that's fucking great. What you're doing is, you know damn well that they're asking for it to be turned over to the custodian, because that's the whole point of having the fucking custodian. Setting aside the ambiguity of the requested relief, Intrepid submits no evidence that plaintiff possesses or controls any of the assets that has prevented Intrepid's access to any of them. Is Rob Dawson on the Discord? Is Jason Karamanis on the Discord? Aaron Bartels? Any of those people? Ryan Ogden? No, Steven Sharif is the owner of the Ashes of Creation Discord. Steven Sharif is no longer employed by Intrepid Studios. Being a shareholder doesn't make him an employee. So therefore, it should be turned over to Intrepid Studios, because if you look at the Discord, right, the Discord is annotated as verified. The Discord itself has the community server, verified and partner. It's verified and partnered. It's not Steven Sharif's developer warehouse for Ashes of Creation. It is the website that you specifically and deliberately tied our accounts to. In order to access certain things, you needed your account and your Discord to go together. So that makes the Discord an Intrepid Studios property. Setting aside the ambiguity, rather, the turnover motion merely levies conclusory defamatory attacks against the plaintiff without evidentiary support. For example, Intrepid asserts that Zimmerman deleted Slack channels and communications belonging to Intrepid, but none of the supporting evidence submitted by Intrepid substantiates that the alleged deletion. Of course they can't substantiate the alleged deletion because they don't have the Slack fucking server. They don't have admin rights to the Slack server, and you can't prove something was deleted without access to the meat. Intrepid asserts that Sharif removed individuals from Intrepid's social media accounts, claiming that was destruction of company records. But neither the motion nor the single supporting declaration identifies any factual basis supporting that accusation. Wow, really? Because I can get 50 people to write letters right now that they were banned from either the Discord or the Reddit. Destruction of company records, sure, maybe not written very well, but the Discord at 150,000 people has tangible value because you could sell a Discord of 150,000 people to another game company, or you could advertise on it. There's some game servers, some game Discords that occasionally do a push for a game that's not one of theirs. Believe they're getting money for that. The turnover motion seeks mandatory affirmative relief. Mandatory injunction relief is disfavored and requires the moving party to show the law and the facts clearly favor the position. An injunction requiring a party to affirmatively provide information to turn over property is mandatory because it orders a responsible party to take action. 90% of people banned had it coming. They were typing bad stuff, insults and stuff. No, 90% of the people banned weren't doing that. 90% of the people weren't, in fact, doing that at all. A lot of the people that were doing that were banned, and they hadn't spoken in the fucking official Discord in fucking years. They just happened to be members of another community Discord that was talking about Steven. They never said anything defamatory, insulting, spicy on the official Discord, period. They were in a Discord discussing the lawsuit, and Steven preemptively banned them from the Discord. How about we know all the facts before we start white knighting for Steven Sharif? How about the man has sold you a shitburger for the better part of a decade? I don't know why you would automatically defend this man. This man ate your fucking crowdfunder money by ordering Popeyes and Taco Bell when he was already using your founder money to pay for a fucking personal chef. We've already heard from the chef. The chef has already said, I cooked the man healthy meals, and the next day when I come in, there'd be fast food all over the place. You were banned the same day you were denied a refund from Steam. They were banning people just for doing chargebacks because chargebacks cost them money. Steven always said the game was fully funded. He said it multiple times. He said it multiple times while soliciting crowdfunding. Maybe both were true. I saw personally 10 people typing insults that got nuked live. I'm happy for you. Now look at how much you've moved the mercury. I want you to recognize you went from 90% of the people banned had it coming to I saw 10 people banned. Wow. Look at how much that got corrected. From a definitive 90% of people had it coming to you saw 10 people. Well, how many were banned total? Because you would have to know that to definitively say 90%. Just because you anecdotally saw 10 people rightfully, 10 people get banned, I don't even think it's rightfully. I think if a community just found out the CEO absconded with anywhere between $10 million and $33 million of company money, oh, I know. Don't say nobody knows. Don't say nobody knows, because there are people who can see the who got banned. There are people who can see that. There are people who kept track of people getting deleted who hadn't spoken there in months. The problem is, Everyone should be pissed off at Steven Sharif because he's the reason Ashes of Creation isn't getting made. It's not Rob Dawson's problem. Remember, Steven said he was going to personally fund $30 million. The game had at least $105 million roll through it. 3 times the amount of money Steven said would be necessary that he was going to fully fund. And then we can definitively track money that John and Steven removed from the company. $300 some odd thousand on fucking DoorDash. According to the court, the court should deny the turnover motion as to Sharif or most ordered continued neutral preservation of the assets through the existing IP custodian with the exception of the following assets. The GoDaddy account for the related domain. Cool. Don't turn over the GoDaddy account. Port the domain ashesofcreation.com to a new GoDaddy account. The Ashes of Creation Reddit. The Ashes of Creation Reddit belongs to Intrepid Studios. The Ashes of Creation Discord account. The Ashes of Creation Discord account. Steven can keep his Steven can keep his Discord account. Just transfer ownership to an account that the IP custodian holds. The Ashes of Creation YouTube account should be turned over to the custodian. The X account should be turned over to the custodian. As to the founder-owned assets, Sharif is willing to provide Intrepid limited access to those platforms in the domain to the extent that is necessary for Intrepid to conduct the business of Intrepid, so long as Sharif and or more retain possession, custody, and control of the founder-owned assets. Sharif is willing to meet and confer with Intrepid regarding such limited access. If I was Rob Dawson, I would not even have my lawyer make it pretty. I would take that paragraph, I'd shove this up your ass. Sharif brought this action in part to protect Intrepid's assets, then turn them over to the IP custodian. Because not turning them over to the IP custodian means you're playing, I'm holding the nuclear weapon. I think the judge should literally just said, turn everything over to the IP custodian by the end of business today, or be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning so I can put you in a cell for contempt of court. The court appointed neutral IP custodian. On March 4th, the court granted Sharif's ex parte TR application. The court enjoined defendants and their agents from accessing, using, selling, distributing, or causing anyone to access, use, sell, or distribute Intrepid's trade secrets. But Steven is banning people off of one of those, so he's using it. Or causing anyone to access, use, sell, or distribute. If you're banning people from Reddit, if you're banning people from Discord, you are using it. The court order further provides that Mr. Kunkel shall control passwords to the various accounts that might contain Intrepid's trade secrets and may grant defendants limited access only upon showing of just cause for a reason other than to access Intrepid trade secrets. Sharif and or more owned assets. Okay, so one of these is the GoDaddy bill. So here is John Moore, the purchase of IntrepidStudios.com, which was owned by somebody else at the time. And then here's the GoDaddy. Here is the GoDaddy thing, but it's from all the way back in 2016. It's great that you, as the founder of the company, purchased it in 2016. Now, show me all of the bills from 2016 to 2026 that you paid for personally. Because once the company paid for it even once, it's now a company asset. If the company reimbursed you for $245.29, which it did, which the company did do that, and I'll show you where the company did it, and this is exactly where John is going to realize he fucked the pooch every way possible, right? Where is it? Where's the John Moore thing? So the moment you get to the first John Moore, why can't I gotta get my glasses. The moment you get the first one of these, right? The moment you get the first one of these in the year 2015, transfers to John Moore. Oh, I'm sorry. It is up here. You got a $500,000 investment, and then you did shareholder distribution, which is against the law to do a shareholder distribution when you're a corporation. You have to pay dividends. But that right there, all Dawson's lawyers have to say is, well, you paid for it in 15. We paid you back because you took a distribution. And then John is going to have to then prove what the $5,000 he took the distribution for. Like, I think John and Steven I think Steven especially is suffering from the flaw that Steven has. Steven Sharif has, in my opinion, is definitely got narcissistic personality disorder. He believes he is the smartest person in every room he's ever in. The problem is, one of these days, I'm going to be in a room with Steven Sharif, and his brain is going to melt and come out of his ears because he's going to know he's not the smartest guy in the room, and I'm going to be in the room. Why would Steven keep a website for a game he's never going to get back? It's cope for him. It's a bargaining chip. It is the classic narcissistic, if I can't have it, I'll destroy it. I'll burn it to the ground. I think immediately Rob Dawson's lawyers, and I mean this sincerely, Rob Dawson's lawyers should reach out to me on Monday and ask PGN's marketing division to give them a valuation of the Ashes of Creation Discord. Because I will. I'll type it up. I'll give them an official valuation. And then they need to submit that to the court to say this man is holding on to $141,000 worth of valuation. Fuck him. That way, if he destroys it, when he ultimately loses it and he decides to nuke it, which he'll do, because that's in his fucking personality type, they'll be like, well, that's cool, you nuked it. It had a valuation of $141,000. Cough it up. Yeah, this is the lawyer. Hold on. This one. The license identifies Sharif and Moore collectively as the founders of Intrepid. The agreement recites that before Intrepid's organization, Sharif and Moore developed and continued to develop certain intellectual rights for which they retained intellectual property rights. Okay. Let's go to that one. Jesus Christ, let's go to this document right here, because this is where they try to say the founders' intellectual property license agreement. This is the thing that I said that they should have had, and apparently they did have. Apparently they had this. The founders' intellectual property agreement is entered into as of the date first listed above by and between Intrepid Studios, a California corporation, the company or license, Steven Sharif, an individual, Sharif, and John Moore, an individual. Collectively, Sharif and Moore are the founders or licensors. Collectively, the company, Sharif and Moore, are the parties and each a party. It's great, but you guys fucked it up. You can't have a foot on each side of the discussion. You can't do it this way. You needed to create a legal entity. That's why I said you needed to create Steven Sharif Creative Writing, Steven Sharif Game Design, because then you're entering into, on behalf of a company, an agreement with your company, not you sitting on both, straddling both sides of the line. And there's no, like, this right here could be used by Dawson's attorneys to prove both alter ego and piercing of the corporate veil, because you were making decisions that were self-interested to you, but they fucked it up, so it doesn't even matter. Prior to the organization, which was founded amongst the licensors, the parties seek to formalize the terms which the founders' licensors shall license the company. All this is great. It's a standard licensing agreement until we get to, you have Thomas Alakazin, right? as a director, entering into an agreement, but they're going to say that all the shareholders did. It's dated in 2024. Yeah, it's dated magically in 2024. But you know what it's not? I don't see a notarized. So it's backdated to 2016 for licensing. Oh yeah, but it gets even fucking better. Ashes of Creation, MMORPG set in a high fantasy world called Vera. Phoenix logo and name, www.ashesofcreation.com. First of all, dumbasses, you can't fucking conjoin multiple things into the same licensing. Number two, okay, you can't simultaneously put a fucking goddamn website address into licensing like this. These are 3 separate products. They can't be conjoined because they're products of a different nature. But where I laugh at how fucking dumb Steven Sharif is. Who owns Ashes of Creation? The registered trademark? Who owns it? Oh, Intrepid Studios is the owner of it. Intrepid Studios. So you filed a fucking document with the court where you fucking lied. You can't be the owner of the license because you put the license in 2019, a filing date of 2016 as the owner as Intrepid Studios Incorporated. Steven and John have no idea what the fuck they've done, so they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Okay, so that's a great point. He claims he is the owner of all of it, but Intrepid is the owner of all of it on paper. But this is where the VOD will be saved. The VOD will be on YouTube and Twitch. The problem is this. I'm going to use myself because I can talk about this a little bit neater. As I always do, we're going to put the big ass corporate veil between me and my company, right? Here's me. This is me. I'll put a top hat on him. The big top hat. This is me. This is PGN Incorporated. And then here's all the subsidiary divisions of PGN. Right now, we're in the entertainment. We're in Twitch. We're in the streaming services. We've got news and media. We've got music. We've got education. And then we now have a literary division. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, I own PGN Inc. That's the fast way to say it. The more correct way to say it is that I own all 10,000 shares of PGN Inc. Thus, I exercise control over the direction PGN Inc. takes. PGN owns PGN Music. Jalan the human being does not own any of this music that you're hearing. PGN owns PGN Music. PGN Music owns all the music. I own stock that gives me control of PGN. Notice I don't own the music. The company owns it. Well, the company owns the company. Well, the company owns the division that owns it. Steven believes, I don't think he understands the idea of alter ego. Steven was operating as if he is Intrepid Studios and Intrepid Studios is him. No, Intrepid Studios is its own entity. Its own entity. So, you said, I own this IP. You don't own it. And you filed it under Intrepid Studios. The intricate systems of an MMORPG that include all narrative devices and lore for the world and its inhabitants, utilizing open world design settings and uniquely interact with PvP and PvE systems, encouraging political intrigue and player-centric design. Steven, as the original game master for this world as far back as 2006, created the unique system details that exist in providing a compelling setting for the game Ashes of Creation. The IP includes designs for unique server meshing technology in order to facilitate expansive playable areas. I think somebody fucking lied. I think somebody lied on this document, and this document wasn't signed in 2024. The IP includes designs for unique server meshing technology. Really? Really? That was developed by a guy who no longer works at Intrepid and took a job with Epic Games. And you knew that back in... Okay. Somebody give this guy $1 billion to make us an MMO. I don't even need $1 billion. I need 300 million. In 2024, they never mentioned server meshing at all. I think they may have at the end of 2024 started talking about dynamic gridding. A compelling season system that changes the dynamics of the world continuing through the game's passage of time. PvP flagging systems that allow for high risk and high reward scenarios. Let me stop you right there. How the fuck are you claiming your PvP flagging system is a licensed IP when you literally stole lineages and then fucked it up? The node system, which allows a predicate-based reaction to the input of players for everything, including crafting, mob spawners, dungeons, drop tables, environmental resigns, player housing rates. Cool, whatever. Steven specifically is responsible for class designs and stat design for player combat. According to the moment-to-moment gameplay direction for the Ashes of Creation combat system derived in part from his vast experience across gaming, but specifically his privately developed tabletop campaign set in his custom Ashes of Creation world and rule set from 2026 to 2024. Cool. Rob Dawson should be subpoenaing that Monday morning. I would like all of this information subpoenaed, because we don't have a copy of the 4,000-page game design document you said that you had. So we would like all of that. We would like all of this. John is directly involved with providing direction for the creation of animals, monsters, and mounts in Ashes of Creation. Directly designed from the lore and fantasy developed with Steven. When the motherfuck did John ever get involved? Show me one time ever. And this is where Steven's insistence to stream all the time. One fucking time where John Moore is mentioned as the person who designed an animal, a monster, or a mount. Because for fuck's sake, since the moment Margaret walked in there, since the moment Margaret showed up, all she has ever said is, I designed that, I designed that, I designed that, I designed that. The license agreement identifies Sharif and Moore collectively as the founders. The agreement recites that before Intrepid's organization, the license agreement expressly includes domain names within the intellectual property. The license agreement defines intellectual property. The license agreement specifically identifies the Ashes of Creation domain IP as owned by Sharif and Moore. Right, but it doesn't matter because you registered it as Intrepid Studios. The license agreement granted Intrepid a license, not ownership. Thus, while the license agreement provided Intrepid a non-exclusive worldwide royalty-bearing non-transferable license, does not transfer ownership right of any of the licensed IP or any derivative works. Great, but that doesn't include the Discord or the Reddit. Intrepid has no license rights to the GoDaddy account, much less any ownership rights that would justify injunctive relief. Right, they don't have any, well, they might have license rights to the GoDaddy account if the company ever paid GoDaddy. In fact, let me do a quick check. Let me see if they ever do. Okay. Don't. What are you trying to show me? So this right here is probably enough, right? This right here is probably enough for them to be fucked on the website. You'll see right here, they paid a contractor $1,800 of company money to build the website. Because they did that, all the contents of the Ashes of Creation website, from just this one journal entry, all the contents of the Ashes of Creation website belong to Intrepid Studios. All of that needs to be turned over. Let me see if there's any other ones. Nope, that is literally the only that is literally the only time. But they fucked up. It only has to be in there once. See, John isn't smart enough to know how to search the QuickBooks before they say shit. And I know what people are going to say, oh, well, it's only one instance. That's all it takes. $1 changes from Intrepid's hands to enrich the website. Well, first of all, you registered Ashes of Creation to Intrepid Studios. So they own it. Now you paid money for the website. We'll give them all the websites now. The social media accounts. Sharif personally created the accounts that own the Ashes of Creation branded X account at Ashes of Creation, YouTube channel, Reddit community, and Discord server. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because you can transfer the Discord server to another account. Although Sharif allowed other Intrepid personnel to post, moderate, otherwise use those accounts for ordinary company purposes, Sharif has not assigned the account's master credentials, recovery method, or owner level rights to Intrepid or any other party. Steven, you didn't even create the fucking Discord. Death Proxy did, and it was given to you for the purpose of the game. Intrepid cannot obtain relief. It's a great argument, but the conclusory allegations, unsupported by any factual showing of Sharif's specific actions, cannot establish misappropriation. Intrepid does not allege that Sharif directed Zimmerman or Rhodes to remove equipment, communicated with them about withholding access, or took any action to prevent the company from accessing its systems. It provides no evidence at all to prove Sharif or Moore took any action to misappropriate any trade secrets. In fact, Sharif has cooperated with the IP custodian to provide him with the assets as required. The declaration of Doug Bartels does not state Intrepid's intents to restart its operation or efforts to further commercialize or monetize the Ashes of Creation game. It does not state that Intrepid intends to hire a workforce to operate. Indeed, Mr. Bartels' title of corporate restructuring agent might imply the company does not intend to resume normal operations. Great, fuck them. Ready? I'm so pissed off at the shit that Steven Sharif is pulling. Rob Dawson, Jason Karamanis, you can fucking hire my game division. I will sit in the creative director's chair just to piss Steven off. Just to piss him off. Paradox Gaming Network Incorporated will become the creative director, and we will do CPI work to determine the feasibility of Ashes of Creation restarting, just to shove it up Steven's ass. I'm a game guy. I'm a corporate guy. I can explain corporate to Dawson and Karamanis. Fine. Fucking make my company the creative director. If this is the low Bush League shit that they're gonna do, of course his title is corporate restructuring agent. They don't have the fucking game, you jackass. 2 guys walked out with all the fucking source code. They have to wait till the fucking... So, great. If Jason and Rob need a guy to sit in the chair just to make point 3 invalid, I'll fucking do it. I'll fucking do it. Intrepid has not demonstrated a likelihood of irreparable harm. Fine. I can prove that. You have lost 20 to 30,000 members off of your Discord. If we value each user as $1, a targeted captive audience, and we assign each user $1 in value, then losing 20 to 40,000 people is a $20,000 to $40,000 loss, which is irreparable harm for a company that's operating in the red. Not turning over the YouTube channel prevents Rob Dawson from monetizing it and getting any trickle of money in from people rewatching the Ashes of Creation videos. Intrepid attempts to bolster its argument of irreparable harm by claiming that Zimmerman deleted Slack channels and communication belonging to Intrepid on or about March 11th. It also claims Sharif has continued to remove individuals interested in Ashes of Creation from Intrepid social media accounts. Shockingly, Intrepid provides no evidence for either of these spurious claims. Fine, if they need them, if Dawson and Karamanis need it, I'll get 50 people right now to say that they're fucking banned. Oh, and by the way, they won't be able to then be picky choosy about we banned people for cause when they never banned the person that made a death threat against me in the open fucking channels. A death threat against me was brought up to Roshan and Margaret, and they never removed it. A fucking death threat. Did Bear ever get paid for music, or did he not do any music at all? He never did any music at all. I don't know. Bear McCrary, I tore up Bear McCrary's social media, his posts, everything. Bear McCrary never, ever, even once mentioned, never mentioned once that he was making anything for Ashes of Creation. They did pay some low dollar amount composer. The other fucking interesting part is Rocco Scandizo allegedly was going to come on staff as the Ashes of Creation economic advisor, the director of economics. Then when I called Steven out on it, because Rocco never, he doesn't have Ashes of Creation or Intrepid Studios on his LinkedIn resume. Steven finally got pinned on it, and the answer he gave was, well, Rocco wrote some white papers for us. Well, based on the fucking, direction you took the economy, and from the allegations of your own older brother, you ignored the fucking recommendations of the guy with the PhD in economics because they didn't fit, like, you were told no. It's like EVE Online is a great example of this. EVE Online had a guy with a doctorate in economics working there from the very beginning till about year 10. Then they said, we don't need this guy anymore. They fired him. And within 6 months, their economy took a fucking shit because they released changes that the economics guy said, you don't want to do that. Steven's the whole fucking economy of Ashes was shit. By the way, I'm qualified to make that assessment. From an economics point of view, all their decisions were shit. The guy that made threats against Dawson is still there. Yeah, probably. They were forever hiring for that position. It's like he took lessons from 38 Studios on dropping names that were going to contribute to the game. Yeah. Like, you had at least one producer that was worth a shit. Babbletron worked there. The problem with Steven is he admitted from the very beginning he didn't bring producers on board. He didn't bring producers on board because he was told that producers got in the way of the creatives, the creative process. A producer does get in the way of the creative process. That's their fucking job. A producer is a project manager or a program manager, depending on what level of authority you want to give this individual. Project manager. I have how much money? Okay. As I've said many times on the show, I've done this example many times. There's two ways and only two ways to run a project. Okay. Today is today. And you say you can have, this much money, this many people, and I'd like it inside this time window. And I say, okay, starting a brand new MMO RPG today. We're going to say 30 September 2034. And you're like, holy shit, that's 8 years out. Yeah, because you gave me this much money, this many people, this many resources, and you gave me a rough idea of the time. And I shot for a little close to the low end of an MMORPG production. And then you say, no, I need it done differently. And I'm like, okay, what do you need? They're like, I need 30 September 2030. And I'm like, well, holy shit. Then I'm gonna need this much money. I'm gonna need this many people. And I'm gonna need a fuck ton of resources. And you're like, holy shit, that's like 8 times the cost. Well, yeah, because remember, project management, you can have it right, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap. Well, in project management, this is already a given. You want it right. So do you want it fast or you want it cheap? Because if you want it fast, it won't be cheap. If you want it cheap, it won't be fast. It's like framing a house with 2 buddies. You can frame a 2-story house with 2 buddies. It ain't gonna get fucking done in a single weekend. Or you can bring 20 carpenters out because it's been rainy all week, and you call everybody on Friday and you say, look, we got an 8-hour window of sunshine on Saturday. I need everybody at this job site. We gotta get this bitch put up. Those are your only options. To the YouTube commenter, it was so long ago that it was feasible. He was still known and did amazing stuff, but he was building up his portfolio. He ended up doing a lot of other high-value soundtracks. Yeah, I think at the time, mentioning Bear McCreary, they probably could have gotten Bear McCreary. You know what was a stupid fucking idea? Steven not listening to people. If you have the money to pay for Bear McCreary, then take the money and pay for Bear McCreary. And then monetize your fucking YouTube channel and put Bear McCreary's music on your YouTube channel. And then that merchandise that you were supposed to sell, fucking create CDs, create a fucking DistroKid account, put the fucking album up on Spotify, YouTube, through YouTube Music. You would be making 5 figures of trickle-in money, which is what you needed. You needed a constant revenue stream. You could have shit, think of it this way, right? Let's just do 800,000 registered accounts, right? At the very beginning. Let's say 10% of them can be convinced to come over and watch your Twitch. Okay? If you actually did live streams that were worth a shit, you could have monetized your Twitch. Let's say of this 1%, right? 1% of people give you a sub on Twitch. Look at that. We're out of 800,000 alleged fucking accounts. We're not getting crazy. We're saying 800,000 and 800 people are going to give you a sub. So we do 800 times 2.25. It's a little lower than 2.5 to account for regional pricing. 1,800 times 12. That right there, that's a $21,600 a year income stream times the 10 years that you were, because remember that 800,000 was the initial number. You literally could have had $216,000 in revenue from just Twitch. And I'd be willing to bet if you had actually fucking listened about how to structure the Twitch shows, you probably would have been making more than $21,000 a year. But even if you were only making $21,000 a year, that's half a position. $21,000 from Twitch, $21,000 from YouTube. Say another $21,000 from TikToks. You've got all these people there that are supposedly marketing people. Oh, we didn't have marketing people. Bitch, you have a guy with a fucking bachelor's degree in marketing working for you. Come on. You could have made 60, 80, 100,000 easy if you had put the effort into it. If you had prepped for the shows instead of trying to be a giga chad, shooting off the cuff and being wrong all the time, you probably could have gotten up there close to $500,000 or $600,000 a year in videos and Twitch revenue. Because if people have a Prime sub and you tell them, hey guys, look, we're just trying to we're trying every avenue that doesn't cost you any money. We're not asking you to sub to the Twitch channel. We're asking you, if you have a Prime account, if you have a Prime sub, give us your Prime sub. We don't want your $5. We only want your Bezos bucks. Imagine how many people would have been like, yeah, I'll give them my Prime sub. The balance of equities do not favor Intrepid. The balance of equities does not favor granting Intrepid the extraordinary, shouldn't be there, it's a wasted word, relief it seeks. This case involves a complex question of corporate control, ownership, and governance. Sharif founded Intrepid and remains a shareholder. The underlying derivative action alleges serious breaches of fiduciary duty by the current board. The underlying derivative action alleges serious breaches of fiduciary duty by the current board, which is why Rob Dawson's best move now is to say, fuck it. If this is how you want to play, I'm going to go to the San Diego Police Department and file embezzlement. I'm going to go to the San Diego Police Department about Zimmerman and Rhodes, about how they stole corporate assets. Fuck them. Let's get the cops involved. I'm going to go to the SEC and the FBI about your embezzlement. Because at first we were having a civil matter, but you know what? Fuck you. I'm now going to up the ante. If you want to say the board's actions were breaches of fiduciary duty, which they fucking weren't. Okay, this is what Steven's alleged argument is. So here's Dawson at the head of the table, right? Steven's contention is that Dawson, and we'll put the corporate veil here again, right? And we're going to put a second corporate veil here because Dawson has his bank over here. Dawson has his personal wealth over here. So we have multiple pockets of corporate veil. Steven's contention is because 1.1 million was due for payroll and Dawson had said, I want these documents signed, and Sharif was slow rolling it. He's saying the chairman of the board, exercised poor fiduciary duty because he wasn't willing to reach into his personal wealth and bring another 1.1 million over for payroll. Dude, the big fucking red line means that money doesn't count. The whole reason you set up a legal entity. Now remember, you probably know the phrase LLC, limited liability. A C corporation is an LLC on steroids. A C corporation is multiple levels of protection. An LLC is one level of protection. A C corp, which I don't even know if they were a C corp. I think they might have been an S corp. But Rob isn't managing the money poorly because he won't reach into his personal wealth and bring it over into Intrepid. In fact, the argument could be made he was exercising good fiduciary responsibility because he refused to put any more money into a sinking product until documents that he requested be signed for the good and health of the company. Because now you present that narrative, and now Steven's going to have to say, well, he wouldn't bring the money over. He's not required to. If he had a promissory note that said, I will fund next week's payroll, signed, stamped, notarized, then that's poor fiduciary responsibility. But if you say, I will put money in if you do X, Y, and Z. Like, for example, I told my daughter, if you get registered for school, I will give you spending money because I need you registered for fucking school. Where's the spending money? You got registered for school at the 11th hour on Friday and you didn't get the other part done. I need the other part done. What's that? The letter from the school that says you're registered. Well, I'll get that on Monday. Then you might get fucking spending money on Monday. You got to deliver the whole deliverable to be paid. Dude, with the White Knight Freaks, they could have had a camera up showing the cubes and no screens streaming 24/7, and they would have gotten at least a couple of thousand subscribed just to watch people walk around the office. Yes! If you all remember before Steven became such a pissant towards me, I said, here are multiple different ways to structure your monthly live stream. One of the things that they should have done is they should have interviewed people, not with the Ashes of Creation logos in the background, none of that shit. Like, this is the background, and we're going to talk to this guy today. And the topic of today is what goes into designing a mob. Today we're meeting with, I don't even know who the fuck the head of the art department was at the end. So if somebody knows who the head of the art department was, let me know. I know the last time I remember it was Matt. So we're going to do the video without Steven Sharif's fucking face in the video. Today we're talking to the head of the art department. Cool. What's up, head of the art department? Yeah, we thought that we would take a little opportunity for you guys to understand a little bit of game design process. Cool. What's that? Today we're going to show you from start to finish how a creature comes into existence. Then that guy is going to talk to you about the 50,000 foot. It goes from concept art to design to animation to abilities. And then draw a box around abilities. Like, we're not going to go that far today. We're just going to talk about how it goes from concept art to design to animation. I'm going to turn you over to XYZ. Here's Jinsey Jenkins. Hey, guys, I'm Jinsey, and today I'm going to show you this mob, as you all have come to love and whatever. I'm going to show you a little bit, and then just screen record her as she's making it, do a talk over, and then you'd be like, but I'm sure you guys are wondering how it came about. Well, let's take you into a concept art meeting. Now you can have Steven there and talking about the concept art. Talk about the concept art. And then we cut back to Jinsey and she says, so see, this is what they gave me as concept and this is the final product. But now I have to turn this over to my friend, blah, 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 so they can do the animations. Then the animator can start talking about how I do the animations and XYZ, and then say, and now a part of this is I need to link in with the combat designer who's going to give this ability because I need to know what I have to animate. But that's going to be the next video in our series. Boom. That video takes you less than 5 hours of time. It requires the marketing department to do some work. But the fucking genius behind that video is every creature you're going to talk about is a creature from Ashes of Creation. Everybody's going to fucking know where the video is from. But you're not using it as a marketing thing. You're using it as a talking thing. The reason it becomes a marketing thing is that video is going to go into Star Citizen, Pantheon, Chronicles, Arcade Unchained. It's going to go into every Discord as those people ask the staff in those Discords, is this the process you use? What do you think about this video? Is this accurate? Every fucking time somebody wants to challenge another game development studio on if this is accurate, they're sharing your content. Because in the blurb of your video, you have Ashes of Creation, but you don't put that shit in the video, so it's not offensive as it makes the rounds. After 6 or 10 of these videos, you can't swing a dead cat in the game design world without one of your videos coming up. Art, animation, combat design, economic concerns, the artisan system concerns, player housing. Like, Steven, when he made the decision to make freeholds not available to everybody, was one of the stupidest fucking things I'd ever seen. Look at the game Once Human. You drive around on a Once Human world, you will find hundreds of people with home decoration kits that they've paid real money for. Freeholds, if you wanted to control the production levels, then control the number of fucking production licenses. Control the number of crafting licenses. Let everybody and their fucking brother have a freehold. People can't own a house in the real world. They go into the video game to own a house, so they have a little piece of the world that's theirs. Shit, Final Fantasy XIV housing, they've never added enough. People still riot over there not being available housing. Intrepid has not established a showing of public interest. Intrepid argues that the public interest is served by protecting trade secrets and that allowing thieves to retain and use confidential information they purloined undermines the business development stability. Inherent in that argument is that all assets at issue are trade secrets and that Sharif and others have misappropriated stolen trade secrets. If you took the fucking game code, then yes, you stole the trade secrets. Intrepid's motion falls short of proving either of these premises. We are unable to work on the game at present because we do not have, one, a complete copy of the game code. Why? Because Zimmerman and Rhodes walked off with the servers. Boom. Done. There. That's how they'll respond to that. There is no contract to order specific performances to Sharif and Moore. The motion does not identify any contract between Sharif and Intrepid or between Moore and Intrepid that would form the basis for any relief it seeks against them. Accordingly, without an underlying contractual agreement, the court cannot order specific performance as to Sharif or Moore. Yes, they can. That is a really weak argument. That is a really, really, really weak argument. The counter argument to that would be, fine. How was Mr. Sharif working as the CEO if we don't have a copy of his signature saying he would adhere to the employee handbook? Steven would have been fine if he wasn't a greedy fuck. Steven paid himself a salary. If you pay yourself a salary, you are an employee, and to be a legitimate employee, you have to have signed the employee handbook. If you didn't sign the employee handbook, then all of your fucking leadership was fraudulent. Somebody could say, well, some CEOs aren't employees. That is correct. Some CEOs are not employees. I am not an employee of PGN. I'm not an independent contractor. I'm a volunteer. It's perfectly legal because I don't draw any enrichment. Yeah, they had an employee handbook. I've read it. It's pretty bullshit, but I've read it. It was in like 2 filings ago. It was one of the exhibits a couple of filings ago. I remember that very well. We were under the impression that everyone can own a freehold. Then he said maybe 1,500 plots for 50,000 accounts once the servers would fully open. Yeah, it was a major slap in the face. And he wonders why almost immediately after the freehold thing, large swaths of really excited players turned really sour on the game. Because you made a design change, but then Steven tried to claim, well, we never told you. You're right. I don't have a specific quote that says everybody will always be able to have a freehold. But then my response is, then why the fuck were you selling freehold skins at $25 a pop? Because now your actions, right? Your actions line you up for your FTC investigation. Like, cool, man, you're down this lane and you're trying to get off, like, your reputation wise, but when you're in a hole, the adage is, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Your talk process through one thing makes you vulnerable on another thing. This had zero risk. This has all the risk. Because remember, the FTC can fine you $25,000 per infraction. Every freehold skin you sold is an infraction. I hope you made more than $25,000 per freehold skin, because remember, if the FTC decides you did something, they fine you, and then you sue them to get the fine undone. That they already won, because they're empowered by the law to fine you. They can simply walk into court and be like, we need an injunction against them so that they can't publish their game until they pay their fines. They're going to get that. The whole fucking... By the way, guys, Steven likes to talk about all the wins so that you know what an ex parte motion is. I see a lot of people running around not understanding the phrase ex parte. Ex parte means from one party. It's literally the translation. An ex parte motion is where I go to court and I submit a motion without consulting the other side, because I need something immediately. To give you a polar extreme of a good example of an ex parte motion, an ex parte motion is when a woman or a man goes to court to get a restraining order because their spouse, their partner, is violent towards them. That is, of course, an ex parte motion. It is from one party for emergency injunction or emergency relief until such time as a full hearing can be held. Stephen talks about lawsuits being dismissed against him as a big win. He talked about the Dawson lawsuit in Nevada being dismissed. First of all, it wasn't dismissed by the judge, you fucking lying jackass. It was a joint motion to withdraw the lawsuit without prejudice, meaning they could refile at any time. They just didn't see the need to have competing courts. Because, granted, Dawson's filing of his lawsuit in Nevada was improper anyway. Even if they could make the link that Stephen and John have ties to Nevada, it's regardless, because Intrepid Studios was a corporation, was a California corporation. Even if you could talk, like, you would find yourself in Nevada with objection after objection, because objection, I'm the lawyer for Intrepid Studios. With all due respect to the court, you don't have jurisdiction over me. You can't make a ruling against me as Intrepid Studios. I don't belong here. I don't exist here. There is no basis for claim and delivery as to Sharif or Moore. California claim and delivery statute requires the moving party to establish probable validity of its claim to possess, wrongful detention by the opposing party, and compliance with statutory procedural requirements. Intrepid presents no evidence that Sharif or Moore are in possession of any tangible assets of Intrepid. Rather, the turnover motion only presents evidence that Zimmerman or Rhodes are currently in possession of tangible assets. Though the submitted evidence appears to show Zimmerman and Rhodes have cooperated in attempts to return those assets, and again, there's no declaration from the IP custodian to the contrary. Cool, the IP custodian needs to just call Zimmerman and Rhodes and say, when are you dropping that shit off? Well, you can come pick it up. Okay, I will tell the court you are not turning it over. They need to stop. They need to be Tony. Dawson's lawyers need to be Tony Stark from Iron Man. I tried to play ball with these ass clowns. How is he paying for his lawyers? Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know how he's paying for his lawyers, but what I can show you definitively, and then Stephen can feel free to, how shall we say, explain away. You could ask Stephen where all of this money went. Because I will state that this was a good faith audit of their QuickBooks. I will go so far as to say their QuickBooks were in such a state of disarray that when I audited, I created an excess of 170 new accounting codes so that I could properly, later T-Elf, so that I could properly audit. I have no doubt that I'm going to be called as a witness in this case. My background is, I am an expert in financial accounting, in audits, not in accounting, in financial audits. Look at that shit. $32 million in unclassified cash outflows. Another $19 million in unsupported transactions. 5.2 million transfers to John Moore. 2.9 to John Moore. $75,000 paid to some New Zealand ghost employee. Because it has no identifiers. It just says contractor payment or employee payment. $1.6 million in Stephen Sharif related things. $41,000 in direct payments to Stephen Sharif as an independent contractor, which you can't legally be an independent contractor if you're simultaneously the CEO of the company. Where does the independence come from? And then, of course, our $307,000 in excessive meals. So that's all the money that was pilfered off of the company. He definitely has money on Cayman Islands. Probably not. Because transferring the money to the Cayman Islands creates a paper trail. Especially in California, you have an exit tax But if he did move money internationally, the IRS is already aware of this, so everybody knows. I'm a petty bitch. I think everybody knows that I have never, ever, ever once denied being a petty bitch. You lied to me once, shame on you. You lied to me twice, shame on me. You lied to me a third time. No, fuck them at this point. I reported it to the IRS. Here you go. 50 some odd $1 million in potentially untaxed income. Remember, Al Capone didn't go to jail for the St. Valentine's Day massacre. He went to jail for not paying his fucking income tax. I don't understand how people can still trust Steven and what he is saying and defend him in the game. Here is a really, really, really good talking point to that. I became persona non grata because I started talking about, the rat shit. Crypto doesn't help you either. Crypto is taxable in the United States, and according to the IRS federal tax code, moving it to crypto doesn't help. I don't know why people think that you can like magically move money to crypto. The money existed, and then the money ceases to exist here. You have to tell them where the money went. And again, like I said about the FTC, the IRS is very much like the FTC. If the IRS comes to you and says, you had $21 million here, and then it went out of a bank account and we don't know where it went, where the fuck did it go? And you say, well, I'm not going to tell you. They say, great, then we're assigning you a 37% tax on this $21 million. We would like it in 30 days. And when you say no, they say, okay, well, we'll see you in court. And they take your ass to court. And remember, when you're the defendant, you either have to get on the stand and testify, or you have to run a defense without you testifying as to where your money went. He can pay tax if he has the money. Yes, he could pay the tax if he has money, which is like the stupidest fucking thing to ever say. But if you pay all your taxes, the IRS does not get involved in your shit. Just pay an amount of taxes slightly above the amount of taxes you should be paying for your lifestyle. Create legitimate businesses that you can filter the money through and pay your fucking taxes. Once you pay your taxes, 90% of what people get caught for goes away because it's the goddamn IRS that starts all these trails. Just pay your fucking taxes. If you just pay your fucking taxes, most of your problems go away. Yeah, the IRS doesn't give a... That's the interesting thing. The IRS does not give a fuck where the money comes from, and the IRS does not specifically have a mechanism for referring illegal activity to other agencies. As long as you're paying your fucking taxes, the IRS does... Like, the IRS can't liaison with the FBI to be like, hey, we think this guy is selling drugs, because the IRS doesn't have a mechanism to start that. I know they should. I'm not saying they shouldn't. They just want their part. They just want their skim. That's it. There is no basis for Intrepid's request for personal devices. Intrepid's motion includes serious accusations of the deletion and spoilization, but it provides no evidentiary support. The turnover motion asserts that Zimmerman deleted Slack channels belonging to Intrepid. Intrepid also accuses Sharif of conduct involving Discord and Reddit. The turnover motion asserts that Sharif has continued to remove individuals while he has. Intrepid seeks sweeping access to personal communication devices of Sharif, Moore, Zimmerman, and Rhodes. They asked the court to require the surrender of personal device communication, including text, WhatsApp messages, and other communications involving Sharif, Moore, Zimmerman, Rhodes, and other employees on Intrepid. That request goes far beyond the preservation of trade secrets. No, it doesn't, and unfortunately, that's where all the employees fucked up. Let me grab something real quick so I can show you this. Hey, buds. Okay, so in the in their employee handbook, it says they have the right to look through personal devices. So here is my active phone, right? This is my active personal phone. Kids' pictures, Disney pictures, chocolate fudge recipe, all that shit. Right? This is the CPI phone. All of the CPI stuff is on this phone. What's not on this phone is personal accounts, personal email, Disney pictures, none of that. Here is the counseling phone. This is my phone from when I was a counselor. I am required by law to keep this until December 31st, 2029. That's the requirement because I have patient records on this. If the handbook says they have the right to look through your personal phone and you sign that, then they have the right to look through your personal phone. Why the fuck would you only have one cell phone? Why would you not have multiple cell phones if you're working, if you're working on stuff for another company? Like, what really just boggles my mind is that you're talking about two guys that removed the server hardware and put it in a fucking storage locker and then extorted Dawson. Fuck them. Call the goddamn San Diego Police Department. Get the fucking cops involved. And here's where it falls apart. If they need to hire me because they don't have the cojones to be an asshole, I got a lot of more asshole in me than is needed on a daily basis. If they want to hire me to be the game director, I'll be like, hey, on my first day of work, can I call the San Diego Police Department? Why? Well, we're trying not to go that route because we're trying to be nice people. Fuck nice people. Shit, hire me at 6:59, 7 o'clock, I'm walking into the police department. Like, fuck right off, man. Try to extort, fucking, give it a fucking shit back or you're going to jail. If work needs me to have a cell phone, then they're paying for a cell phone for work purposes. Sorry, I'm not signing anything saying that you have the right to go through my personal device without a warrant. Right. That got me in trouble in the military. I was stationed in Ohio, but I was stationed at the Pentagon. I was in Ohio because that's where the fuels lab is. Well, it's where one of the fuels labs is. They're like, you need to sign this form to take your laptop home. So I was reading it, and I got to a section, and I highlighted it in yellow, and I said, I'm not going to be able to sign this. And they're like, well, you have to. Well, what if I don't? Well, you have to. But let's pretend that I don't. Well, then you can't take your laptop home. Works for me. The provision was, if I connect my work laptop to my home network, then they have the right to scan all of the devices on my home network. No. Nope. Not gonna work. Not gonna work for me. I got hit with immediately that, what do you got to hide? I don't have anything to hide. But my wife's not active duty military. My roommate's not active duty military. My children aren't active duty military. I can't sign away their constitutional rights. You're asking me to sign away their constitutional rights. I can't do that. They backed right the fuck off. They had to regroup. Then I got the Judge Advocate General's office calling me. Well, what do you mean? That's not my computer. That's my wife's computer. My wife is a civilian. That's my roommate's computer. She's a government contractor, but she's still a civilian. They paid me to have a different internet line run into my house. So I had two internet service providers. One only for the military's laptop, and then one for my home network. And as long as nobody used the other one, it was good. If the board needs statements from people being removed for saying nothing, I'm sure that'll be easy to get. That'll be so easy to get. It's like, it'll be so easy to get people to say, yep, this is my name, and I was removed from the Discord. Access to Sharif's email account should be restricted. Intrepid identifies the Google Workspace as one of the assets. This would include Sharif's Intrepid email address, because that account might include emails that would be protected under Sharif's right to privacy and potentially attorney-client privileged information. Nope. No, it wouldn't. No, the fuck it wouldn't. because that is not a private account. That is a company account. Sharif does not object to Intrepid having access to the company's Google Workspace or email accounts generally, but Sharif respectfully posts that the court should order Intrepid shall not permit any defendant in this action or any agent, employee, attorney, consultant, contractor of Intrepid or any defendant to access the contents of any email used by Sharif, including S. Sharif and Intrepid. Sharif further proposes that the court orders the parties to meet and confer following the decision on this motion as selection of an ESI vendor to maintain access to Sharif's email account and ESI protocols that would assess any party's access to the emails. That's such bullshit. Steven knows their shit. Steven knows their shit in his email that burns him. How can he actively use his Discord account? Because it's his Discord account. Here's the problem. Rob Dawson and Jason Karamanis and Aaron Bartels and Ryan Ogden, they made one really big mistake. And that big mistake was they needed to reach out to a person who spoke gamer before they filed their first lawsuit. Because if you guys remember when that first turnover thing came through, as I went through it, I said they didn't ask for the YouTube, they didn't ask for the X, they didn't ask for Discord, they didn't ask for the Reddit. Like, I saw that shit in 0.9 seconds. Yeah, you need a tech guy, right? You need a Kevin McPherson to advise you on like, oh yeah, we were using this, but you need a gamer, you need a content creator who knows marketing and advertising, that knows that realm to say, yeah, they're not turning over some of the things that have the highest potential monthly income value. While you're unable to run the game, you could be making money through the YouTube. Because they still didn't ask for the Twitch account either, right? But you know what the funniest part is? The funniest fucking part that makes me laugh all the way to the fucking bank. All the way to the bank. It's just so comical to me. This is just... shit. This is just fucking awesome to me. They didn't ask for the individual Twitch account. But you know what they can't ask for? What they have no legal right to ask for? I am the owner of the Ashes of Creation stream team. They can't ask me for it. They can ask me for it, and I'll tell them to fucking pound sand, because their trademark search is only for class 009. They only filed it for computer game software, downloadable electronic game software for use on personal computers and consoles, interactive game programs. They never filed a exhaustive trademark. So if they say, well, that's our registered trademark, yeah, but not for Twitch channels. And since I've been sitting in it for 5 years now, and you knew I was sitting in it, so they don't own merch. Yeah, that's the other problem. Technically, nothing stops me from selling Ashes of Creation merch because you didn't register your trademark for merch. In fact, someone could be a real bitch and register trademark for Ashes of Creation merch and then force Ashes of Creation later on to buy them out. Sorry, my sugar's a little low. For the foregoing reasons, the court should deny Intrepid's turnover motion as to Sharif and Moore. The motion seeks mandatory affirmative relief without competent evidence that Sharif possesses, controls, withholds, or can turn over any specific asset. Well, they do that. They asked for specific things. Yeah, Ashes 101 merch, all above board. This is where anybody that thinks about Steven Sharif, I, Steven Sharif, declare I do not possess or control any Intrepid hardware, including but not limited to server chassis, drive computer, security key, developmental device, scale matrix hardware, or separately packed hardware component. Really, asshole? Really? Nothing? Your computer wasn't bought with Intrepid Studios funds? I hope it wasn't, because you said computer. Your phone? because your phone is a developmental device. If you were communicating with your audience through your phone, through Discord, your phone became a developmental device. I do not possess or control a separate copy of Intrepid source code or any operational development credential for AWS, Perforce, Bitwarden, any of these things. I never directed Jason Zimmerman, Matthew Rhodes, John Moore, or anyone else to remove, conceal, destroy, retain, or deny Intrepid access to company hardware, source code credentials, Slack records, or other community property. God, Jason and Matthew, your boss just fucking said, human shield. Because any argument that Zimmerman and Rhodes could have made to legitimize why they removed the server data was that a shareholder instructed them to. Steven didn't just toss those two poor sons of bitches under the bus. He put it in reverse to make sure he hit them. I retain administrative capability for the Google Workspace. I do not oppose restoring a dedicated company administrator or providing reasonable logged access once Intrepid addresses any billing or service implement. Fuck off, dude. John Moore maintains the GoDaddy. Keep the GoDaddy. Transfer the account to an Intrepid account. Intrepid, myself, and John Moore executed the founder's intellectual property agreement. A true and correct copy of this agreement. Intrepid executed separate counterparts through John Moore as president, Thomas as director. The transition was approved by Intrepid's entire board of directors and by all the holders of outstanding shares at the time. You fucking liar. You fucking liar. The transaction was approved by Intrepid's entire board of directors and by all the holders of all outstanding shares at that time. You fucking liar. Because you showed in 2019, you knew the Yaya Legacy Trust was a shareholder. So you signed a document for licensing, and now you just lied in this attachment. And you know what that does? You know what number 11 does to your intellectual property license agreement, Steven? Because you lied, you might as well print a copy of it out and wipe your ass with it. Because you lied in your declaration, so you can't resolve number 11 and this chart that you mailed to Jason Karamanis and his lawyer. You knew on March 5th, 2019, that Jason converted his debt to equity and was a shareholder. Also, in the bottom of Jason's loan agreements, it says Jason is to become a 15% owner and a seat on the board. Steven is so fucked because Steven, his pride gets in his way. Now, is there any shot Ashes of Creation comes out in our lifetime? No, Ashes of Creation can't come out in our lifetime because right now, Ashes of Creation, the owners of Intrepid Studios don't have access to the source code, and Steven is being Steven because he didn't get picked for kickball. He's taking his ball and going home. Swear to God, Jason should sell me one share of Intrepid stock. If they, because I don't have to put up with any of this. I didn't sign that MSA. Now I want to investigate you for fucking financial impropriety. Except the courts are waiting for him at home when he gets there. Or the cops. I don't know which one you meant to say. But I tried to do this all yesterday. My internet went out. Could be both, right? Steven is going to go to jail. I don't think Steven's attorneys, I don't think Zimmerman's attorneys have done a very good job of explaining a really, really, really dangerous part of this scenario. The really, really, really dangerous part of this scenario is that in order for you to win your court case, you're going to have to, you are going to have to testify. The moment you testify, all of this other shit, like as you've noticed, I've ripped apart their whole argument today with documents that they filed. This was approved by everybody. No, it wasn't. Because your contention is that it was approved by everybody, you just invalidated it. Jason Karamanis will literally just have his lawyers go into court, motion to invalidate it because I wasn't party to it, and I was a member of the board of directors. Now that goes back to what the person on YouTube said, that you have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of all the shareholders. That licensing agreement is ex post facto. First of all, as I showed you, you've already invalidated the fucking agreement because you registered Ashes of Creation. Intrepid Studios Incorporated owns Ashes of Creation's trademark. Done. You're done there. Then you said it's valid because all of the holders did. Well, it's not valid yet because Jason's never signed it. You can't deprive a company of its intellectual property. I think legitimately what's happened is, this is my belief. This is just my opinion. Steven and everybody heard me say on my show that what they needed was a licensing agreement, and I think they've created that licensing agreement and Backdate signed it. And what worries me about that is it's not notarized. I would assume, first of all, going to a notary shows that you went above and beyond the minimum requirement. Why do I take certain agreements to the notary? Because I'm a one-person company. I take it to the notary so that the notary's signature indicates the date that I signed it. Like, for example, a while ago, I created a media division. When all of this shit got hot again, I created a media division. No, a notary cannot, you cannot self-notarize. If you are a signatory to the document, you may not also be, you cannot also be the notary of record on the document. Normally, if you go to like a lawyer's office, they, how can I put this? They normally have their secretary as their notary, but that secretary doesn't function as a paralegal. That way, you have an office person who is a non-lawyer office person who can then notarize documents on behalf of you and your clients, because they're not ever going to be part of the fucking term work product, the legal work product, because it would be a hard stretch for you to say, yeah, the secretary it was acting as a part of the company when she notarized this, and the judge is going to say, are you a paralegal? No. Then he's going to say, well, it'd be against the law for her to be part of that legal work process. Because remember, you can't accuse somebody of breaking the law to prove that they broke the law. She can't notarize something if she's a party to the work. So for you to say she was party of the work, she'd have to be functioning as a paralegal without being a paralegal. And they would be like, well, that doesn't fucking fly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Besides, getting a notary is cheap. Like around here, because we're in the fucking sticks, we have the mobile notary. I'm not even joking. This lady, she drives around all day in a car. She comes to you. You need a notary? She'll drive to your fucking house. She don't care. Because it doesn't matter. A notary just has to see your ID and watch you sign it. Also remember, first of all, never go to a meeting with only one copy of something. Number two, if it needs to be notarized, you can't sign it until the notary watches you sign it. Because the notary is notarizing. I watched them sign it and I proved with a photo ID. In their little notary log, it says, what ID did you look at? You ever watch the notary when they take your information? Like, here's your driver's license number, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what they write down. If it's a state ID, they write down your state ID number. That way there's no fucking question. Now, they might not put all of it. I do. I put the whole ID number. Some of them put, like, the first letter, the first 3 numbers. They leave out the middle. They leave out the first 2 of the last 4. Oh, they're like, oh, okay. You obviously saw the ID because you know enough of the numbers. I just think this whole thing is ridiculous. I saw somebody say, let's give this man $1 billion so he can build an MMO. The truth of the matter is, the Ashes of Creation, everyone has to face this hard reality. Ashes of Creation was never going to be successful because Ashes of Creation was nothing more than a combination of vertical slices from the team members themselves. They were never allowed to, quote, build the game because their entire development process was based around getting shit ready for the live streams. This is where Margaret Crone was a giant failure. Stephen Sharif was a giant failure. And I say Margaret Crone was a giant failure because part of the responsibility of the marketing director is to handle the boss. Look, you have us running around to try to showcase this. We're doing enough good work. We're doing enough good work. We can showcase what's actually ready. How many times did Steven and them, like, all the way when Jeffrey Bard was there, going on a little adventure and there's a spider in the background. Come to find out that spider was just a fucking video overlay. Another one, Steven and all the fucking people, they're running through this area, and then Steven accidentally pans his camera too far to the left, and you see that it's all just blank grid. It's just blank grid out there. It's not even populated. So that's not in your living world. Narc was never right the whole time. I was. Narc didn't organically get to the answer he got to. It was the same shit that I'd been saying for 2 years prior. Even Narc admits this. Even Narc has said Jalan was probably right. But the way I went about it, I sabotaged myself. It wasn't about the way I went about it, sabotage myself. It's that I feel that if you have to start sugarcoating things, then we have a really big problem. And the really big problem we have, if we have to sugarcoat things, is that we cannot fix the problem if people aren't willing to allow the CEO to answer his own questions. What I mean by that is, how many times did I bring up stuff that should have been a warning and people didn't want to hear it because they were afraid of what hearing it would mean for the game? What were the top 5 cracks everyone chose to ignore over time? The first one, the first and the biggest one was the moment we found out that an investor had filed a lien, a UCC-1, a financial statement indicating lien against Intrepid Studios. That was the moment that we all should have said, Steven, we don't buy any of this bullshit until you give us an explanation for this. Until you give us an explanation for this. What about early? Hold on, slow down. You can't ask me for 5 and then say early signs. Number 2, when our ability to track the referral program changed radically, that was a big warning sign, and I confronted Steven about that, and that's when I knew he was full of shit. Because, and I can't show it because my NDA is still in place, but I received a document from Steven, and then years later I asked for an update of that same document, and it was now no longer available. That's bullshit. You mean your systems regressed? Number 3, and this is one of the early ones. You got caught doing an affiliate program during Kickstarter when an affiliate program violates the terms of Kickstarter. When you got confronted about it, you laughed it off. If you're going to laugh off other people's rules, remember, and this is a big one for people, add in a little psychology here. Here's me, right? And around me, there are 3 sets of boundaries. And every person should have this. I apologize, this isn't the most yellowy yellow, right? But around you are 3 sets of boundaries. And the trick is, those boundaries are there for me. This is the contractual arrangement of our friendship, right? You're out here, you know, you're making jokes at my expense, but I'm making jokes back at your expense. We're okay. Now you cross over the first bit of my boundary and you make a joke about my mom. And I look at you and be like, hey man, I'm not cool with that. My mom's dead. Like, I personally, when people look at me and you say, you son of a bitch, I stop. You don't know my parents. There's a lot of things you can call me, but son of a bitch, that's over a boundary. You're not. And then they're like, well, man, no, not with me. I'm not playing that way. I don't bring moms into it. I don't bring dads into it. Well, the problem is when you get to here, now you've crossed over my yellow line. Now I have to start evaluating if you bring more joy to my life than you bring grief and strife. The moment you cross over this red line, the response must be a tactical nuclear weapon. Because if the response when somebody crosses your red line isn't a tactical nuclear weapon, then your red line doesn't ever mean anything to them. We are all at fault. Because we allowed Steven to get away with bullshit, and we didn't force him to answer. One of the other top 5 is when I caught him in that lie about the number of people working at the studio. That should have been a hard stop instead of the moment it was. It should have been a hard stop. Look, you motherfucker, you're lying your ass off. Because you claim there's 115 people working on Ashes of Creation, and you have less than 30 in the studio. When Jeffrey Bard said you have 17 engineers working on the game, you don't have 17 engineers employed at Intrepid Studios. You're counting the people that work at Stormancer. You're counting the people at Epic Games who are assisting you with the engine side. Saying there's 17 there's 17 engineers working on the back end of Intrepid Studios may be a valid statement, but it requires some transparency to say our team of 8 engineers is working with engineers from Stormancer and Unreal Engine. The lie Steven laughed off at PAX East about staying back home while working on the game? Oh, you mean,
I think our community often asks where Nodes 3 is at, because one time, remember we were at that panel at PAX, and people were like, when's Nodes 3 coming out?
Nodes Part 3. So actually one of our team members is now currently with us here at PAX, and his name is Tristan Snodgrass, and the reason for that is because he's currently back at the studios working on Nodes Part 3.
And I'm like, Tristan's back at the studio, and he's editing it.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, what's he done? Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, what's he done?
Steven, you're going to be laughing a different way when that gets played in court and defrauding your customers. Steven, you're a fucking liar. Boom. Now, we can't talk to Tristan. If those of you are unaware, Tristan Snodgrass passed away. We can't ask Tristan. We can't get more story about that. But Tristan passed away. You had a friend like that. He had this type of perspective. He was like, the thing is, if we create too much drama around the legal stuff, we'll end up killing the game. We need to leave it alone. Suggest that in order for the game to thrive, its flaws can't be addressed. No, you have to address the flaws. In fact, I would argue It is more important to address your flaws than it is to highlight your strengths. Because if you address your flaws, you are making positive forward process. Because, and this is like where the marketing person has to have a level of trust with the boss, right? This up here is the good shit, right? This is everything that works. And you'll notice everything that works is a smaller part of the triangle, because this is all the stuff that works and everybody loves. Everybody loves this. Nobody hates this. No fucking Eeyores here. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. No, everybody loves this piece. Leave it the fuck alone. It's the recipe. It's the sauce. It works. This is the piece right here where you're going to have 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Half of the people like this, half of the people don't. This is the shit down here that you should be working on. Because this red section, this is the section that tells you universally everybody hates this shit. As I've said repeatedly, I would rather, if I had my choice between going to work for a company and working on a project where 30% of the customers love it and 70% of the customers hate it, I would rather be brought in to do the marketing, the project management, the revamp on that product than a product that is split like this. And here's why. If 55% of people love your product and 45% of people hate your product, there's not a fucking lot you can do there. Because every change that you make to pick up one of these people potentially costs you 2 of these people. At 55-45, you're kind of like existing, and you need to do a lot of research to see, this is going to be months and months and months of market research, communicating with your client base, trying to figure out how we can become more universally loved. Over here, this is easy. 30% of people love it, 70% of people hate it. That's easy. Because if I gain 2 people here and I lose 2 people here, I stay the same. But my pool over here is so much bigger. If I pick up 3 people here and I lose 2 people here, fuck it, I'm 1 person heavy. That's a no-brainer. My number has nowhere to go but up. Steven's problem is he lied. He got caught in lies. Somebody's been doing, because I told you, man, our community is full of a bunch of eclectic, rare talent, skill people. Somebody has been going through and watching the old videos, and they've got Steven's tells nailed. They've watched all the places where Steven has to lie to figure out the changes in his behavior, the changes in his mannerisms. And then they started watching everything with this list of tells. And so now they're pretty certain that when Steven's talking in a very steady voice, not a lot of ums, not a lot of uhs, not a lot of breaks, not a lot of gaps, when he has a long train of just fluid, coherent speech, he's telling the truth. It's when he starts looking at the table, a lot of ums, a lot of uhs. All of those times that he does that is something that person was able to identify as a lie. I've worked for small businesses before, and when he said how many employees he had, I was like, no way he can afford payroll. That's, well, he could afford payroll, and that's one of the things people have to stop about. They could afford payroll. The problem is they incurred too many expenses too far away from the launch date. Like,
I think our,
because you have multiple streams, right? this team is done here. This team is done here. This team is done here. Well, this team is done here, and I'm going to call this the art team. And the art team wasn't done, but I'm just going to pretend that they are. The art team is done at the 3-year mark, right? Well, if I spent a lot of money in the first year and year 1 and year 2, to get the art team done by here, but the art's not needed until here. And let's say this is a whole extra year, right? This is year 4. Then having all the art done by year 3 is actually a defect. It's actually logistically a defect because you spent more money than you needed to having something done before you needed it. Remember, and this is what drives some people crazy, airlines get dinged if they arrive too many minutes early and if they arrive too many minutes late. Remember, some people are like, well, how did the airline make up this time? Because you left 35 minutes late, but you arrived on time. Because the airline calls in and they ask for permission to take a different cruising lane to make up time so that the receiving airport doesn't have to start shuffling ground time. They get permission to fly at a higher altitude for longer. They get to stay in the pipe 5x5 for 100 extra miles because they stay at 575 miles an hour cruising instead of 375, right? Because they're late, which means they can't come into the gate they're supposed to come into because another plane is already coming to that gate because it has to pick up its passengers and go. Now the airport's scrambling around. That's why the airlines get dinged if they're too early, because now you're arriving and nobody's ready for you. The gate you're scheduled to go into still has a fucking plane in it because it's not due to back out for 18 minutes. Do you think them changing the game engine was the reason they couldn't finish in time? A lot of good games are made in Unreal 4, Stellar Blade. No, I don't think changing the game engine has anything to do with why they weren't able to get done in time. Number one, changing the game engine was the smart decision. The reason why changing the game engine was the smart decision is because Unreal Engine, Epic Games, only supports the old engines for so long. If you're still 3 years from launch, you do not want to launch on an engine that's going to get changed later down the road. Because everything that you build on top of that engine will then need to be touched. It will all take tack time. It'll all take touch time. And the new engine may require entire things to be totally rewritten. The answer I give for this is, I used to supervise houses being built. I used to be a project manager. I never, ever, ever, in the history of me being the checkoff guy for project management, authorized foundation anchors in a house when the foundation was bad, but we hadn't built anything on top of it yet. The guy that used to do the foundations for us, a couple of times he got pissed. A couple of times he told me, I won't be able to survive this. And I said, you can't survive it, then you shouldn't be in business. You should be working for somebody, not running your own company. They pour a foundation. We never worked on a house until 30 days after the foundation was poured. Used to make some people wouldn't work with us. I knew what they were all about. We would tell them, just so you know, we have 30 days cure time. We don't start working on a foundation until the 31st day. We look at it the next day, we look at it at day 14, we look at it at day 30, day 31, we start. Guys like, well, why do you wait 30 days? Because we want the concrete to be good and cured before we put weight on it. Well, one time we went out to a job site on day 14, the whole wall was cracked and crumbling. We called the guy and was like, hey, you need to come dig out all this concrete and re-pour it. And he came out, he's like, well, I'll re-pour that side. Said, nope, look at the fucking contract. He's like, what do you mean? I said, the contract says if it fails before day 31, you rip all this shit out and you re-pour it. You don't get paid for the re-pour either. And he was like, that's bullshit. I said, that's the contract you signed. You're not, because if one wall fails, I'm not going to start putting fucking framing of a house up and then have another wall fail. I'm not going to put good lumber on a product that's possibly going to be a defect. So unless you can tell me precisely why that wall and that wall only is a defect, rip all this shit out and fucking re-pour it. You don't want to do that? I don't fucking care. Then I'll have my guys rip it out and I'll have another guy pour it. And you still aren't getting paid. I believe they did the Kickstarter way too early in the development cycle. No, the Kickstarter that they did, they had to do the Kickstarter the way they did. They didn't have a choice. The reason why they had to do the Kickstarter the way they did is because what they needed out of the Kickstarter wasn't money. They needed legitimacy out of the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter being the most successful MMORPG Kickstarter up to that point was part of what created Steven to have such hubris. And the hubris that we have is seen right here. The gambling was keeping you from your potential. My mom is a brilliant and strong person who taught me a lot. I learned a lot from her for sure. And she always spoke so highly of you, which is why I felt your knowledge and passion would be an asset to have for the empire I am building. The empire that you're building? The empire. Son, people don't talk about that. People don't talk that way. Okay? Here's another lie. The $1 billion game I'm announcing tonight. The $1 billion game. Ashes to Creation is the same one you've been working on since last year. Same one. We have 24,000 members and we haven't even announced the title or entered alpha testing. No, dumbass. You had announced the title. You lie about little shit. You lie about little things that don't need to be lied about. You announced the title on 9/29/2016 in a Facebook post. I don't know why you're just incapable of telling the truth, but you made a Facebook post detailing the name of your company. It's a small lie, but when you have somebody that can't tell the truth and they repeatedly lie about little things, then you know that they're lying about the big things. Like, I've shown these, and this is just the dumbest shit to lie about. I don't know why we kept giving this man opportunities to lie to us. Seems like a really small lie. Intrepid Studios is always in search of talented, team-orientated, self-driven, and passionate individuals. Our 17,000 square foot studio. Your studio was 5.8 thousand square feet. Why lie? Why the fuck would you lie about the studio size? Like, what fucking value does lying about the studio size actually have? And then you just have to ask yourself, why did this guy feel it necessary to lie basically about everything? The studio size, the funding, how many people are working on the project, where we're at, how many people played APOC. We had 87,000 users logged into APOC over the weekend. Really? Because I think Zara and I laughed about that, because Zara and I played almost the whole weekend. We kept running into each other. She kept fucking killing me. So you had 87,000 fucking people play this game this weekend, yet I've had Zara in the last 30 fucking matches. That's fucking weird, considering I'm going out halfway through the match and I'm waiting for a match so long that I'm getting the winner of the previous match. I remember telling my friend I felt the game was doomed after seeing how Steven hyper-inflated everything. He over-exaggerates the hell out of everything he said. Yeah, he'd over-exaggerate the hell out of everything. Well, if they counted people idling on the login screen, sure, but 87,000, I don't know if I have that. I don't know if I have that quote, but 87,000 fucking logins. But why lie? Why lie about it? Like this one. This one is when he lied right to my face. And like, you know what? You lied right to my face, bro. So good. Fuck you. We didn't know in February we were going to have APOC on Steam, so we couldn't have said that. So walk me through the truth here. You put Steamworks.net into Intrepid Launcher as far back as 17 December. Steamworks is only useful if you are putting your application on Steam. Yet you didn't know in February of 2019 that you were going to put APOC on Steam. So what drove you to put the code in back in December of 18? As a reminder, Steamworks is only required to upload your content to Steam. That is it. That is all the fuck it does for you. That is all it does for you. So you weren't planning on putting it on Steam back in December, but you were just going to fill your game up with bloat. We had 87,000 logins to the BR testing. That type of server capacity costs money. Okay, so 87,000 times 0.01, a 1% conversion on a $15, or no, it was a $10 battle pass. So you only made $8,700 on APOC? I don't know. Maybe if APOC hadn't been a pile of fucking dog shit, maybe if you had actually built APOC, instead of sending Jason the message that says, we're launching our Fortnite tonight, maybe if you had, like, I don't know, simple things in life, had leaderboards, just leaderboards could have carried APOC to a little something. A little something. Steven doesn't understand that he is going to get absolutely fucking crushed. Yeah, according to Steam database, APOC maxed out at 832 people. Steven, you can't fucking lie to people who can look up data. You had less than 1% of the people. Now, he would then spin that to, well, we had 87,000 unique individuals try APOC. Let's see if we can do some math here. Let's do a little math problem here. So, yeah, that's the link for anybody that wants it. I'm doing a little bit of math. So what we're trying to figure out, is with 832 players online maximum, and only 8 full 100. Oh, okay, hold on. APOC was the battle royale that they had to test the action combat. It's it would take 108 hours and 45 minutes. But if we take this, if we take these facts, and this is how you know Steven's lying. They said they had 87,000 people log in and try. 2 matches of 100 people each, match length of 15 minutes, no more than 832 people logged on at any one time, which doesn't matter because we're capping it at 2 matches of 100 to account for the matchmaking. It would take 108 hours and 45 minutes, or 4 days and 12 hours, assuming full continuous matches with no downtime. Steven, as I've tried to say many times, if I'm in the room with Steven and my cat, we're not arguing over who the smartest person in the room is. My cat is arguing that they're the second smartest person in the room. Steven, I swear, Steven's character sheet, when he made his character sheet, it's something like this. Charisma, 4d6 plus 6. When you are a Sharif, you get to throw 4d6 plus 6 for your charisma. But your intelligence is a 1d4. And your wisdom is a 1d4 minus 6. And yes, I understand that leaves them with a negative wisdom. It's intentional. Steven lied about so many things. I'm fully self-funding the project. Where's your 30 million? Where's your 12 million? Where's your 55 million? Yeah, even with buffs, it's still 0. Right, exactly. Giving up your equity does not mean you're funding it. I know that there is some fucking bullshit rationale that Steven wrapped his head around. But if you wanted to invest in PGN, I would sell you 1 share of PGN stock for $10,000. That doesn't mean I would get the $10,000. Because if it's for the good of my company, I would sell back 1 share of stock to the company, and then the company would sell you 1 share of stock, so the company would get the money. The too long didn't read goes like this. Steven wants to force all of Dawson's cross complaint down into federal arbitration as required by the MSA that they signed. Steven also now magically has a licensing agreement for everything that's Intrepid Studios, except he registered Ashes of Creation at the USPTO, the United States Patent and Trademark Office, as Intrepid Studios as the owner. So he now can't say I own it, but legally Intrepid's owned it for years. Steven also doesn't feel that he should have to give up the Discord or the Reddit because he created the accounts. And so his lawyer's argument is that I created the accounts, so I shouldn't have to give up my Discord account. Great, don't give up your Discord account. Go into Reddit, make Jalan the owner of the Reddit, and fuck right off. Go into Discord, make Jalan the owner of the Discord, and fuck right off. Nobody's like GoDaddy. John Moore set up the GoDaddy. Yeah, but you used company money to build the website. So once you did that, the contents of the website have to go. You want to ashesofcreation.com, according to you, is in your filing is owned by you as founder asset, but you had it. You filed it. No, this is the shit he filed, man. He filed this shit. This is what's so dumb. He filed this shit. Dawson's attorneys, put it this way. If I can find all the problems with this as a prior pre-law student, Dawson's attorneys got this shit and they're like, Yep. That's why if Karamanis and Dawson's lawyers need somebody to walk them through all the fucking history, fuck, I don't give a shit. Retain my services. I'll tell you, I'll show you this shit, but they're smart enough to do that without me. Are you telling me that you don't think anybody looked up the USPTO filing for Ashes of Creation and they're going to say, well, thanks for filing that, but now you're trying to fraudulently claim shit you don't own? The saddest part is, people are still rallying to Steven like he's going to make this game. But this is the fucking guy who decided for no reason to call me a fucking jackass. Right? This guy said, and jackass Shalon. Motherfucker, if you had listened to me, you wouldn't be in this mess. You would not be in this mess if you had fucking listened to me, because I treat, like Amazon not selling New World for 25 million. No, Amazon not selling New World for 25 million is a smart move. Yeah, I told you not to buy into Ashes. I used to tell people all the time, use my referral code to sign up for Ashes, but do not spend any money on it, because we are at the point where they shouldn't get any more money. I'm already invested. Let me do the testing. I do the testing publicly. If you like what you see, then you can log in. And every fucking time new testing came out, I said, this is dog shit. Don't give them any more money. Then we find out then we find out Steven pilfered between 10 and $33 million. And if Steven's lawyers are thinking about, oh, he said pilfered, we're going to get him. Yeah, cool. Arf, arf, come get me. Because the two things I'll remind you is, there is my public explanation of the 9000 series for general suspicious activity. And number two, if you want to come after me for a slanderous, libelous, or defaming statement, then I get discovery. And my discovery will be, your records are dog shit. And I will go into court and I will say, your records are dog shit. For those of you that have never seen the records, I'll show you a real quick glimpse of the end of the records. Which was just absolutely unreal. This is literally how they were this the right year? What year am I in? This is literally how they were logging shit into their ledger. This is just how they were doing the ledger. Check, which isn't a check, because you don't write a check to Amazon. Check Amazon memo split office supplies. You bought office supplies, but where's the roster? Where's the list? You bought office supplies, and each one of those times that you bought office supplies, you were in the red. Now, for those of you that don't understand, when you start spending money and you're in the red, they're going to ask why. Like, you need to be able to articulate everything that you bought while you're in the red. It got even worse, right? Like, in one particular day, Amazon, the DoorDash, you have 2 DoorDashes on the same day in 2024. You have 2 DoorDashes on, what is that, 1/2/2024? On the day after New Year's. So those were probably New Year's Day DoorDash expenses, because they take a day. You placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders to Amazon for office supplies on the same day. What the fuck are you doing? Right? you're an Airbnb, a travel expense of $5,000. Okay, so then in the memo column over here, right? Oh, did I not put? Oh yeah. Travel expense, Airbnb. Why in the memo section isn't there a designator of who got the money? That, so that you guys know, if you've never managed the records at a company before, you need to differentiate between payroll and compensation. Why? Because payroll is taxed and compensation isn't. If you're paying me back for a hotel room, you can't put a repayment for my hotel into roll it into my paycheck, because then you're fucking me over, because my paycheck should look at my paycheck should reflect my taxable income. Now, what some places do is they do roll it into your paycheck, but they very specifically have it labeled so that the pay stub part of it, my salary is $43.90. The pay stub still says $43.90, but then the check had a bump on it for the compensation. That's a lazy way to do it. It's the accurate way to do it. The better way to do it is, number one, if people are going to be traveling for your company, give them a fucking company credit card. Or if people are going to be traveling for your company, you call the hotel and you make the payment arrangements, so it comes out of the company's expense account. Number two, you write me 2 checks, or you pay me back out of petty cash. I give you the hotel receipt, you give me my money. As a tax professional, that makes life a pain seeing it like that. Yeah, but what it does is the only reason why somebody would want books that dirty is because they want the books that dirty. It takes longer. It takes longer to cook books dirty than it does to do them clean. Spitball of big resources is 20 simultaneous 50-person BR matches worth of compute instance, even with some debugging bolted on, shouldn't cost you more than $11 on demand, which would be about $7 an hour if paid in advance. Let's say additional services support makes it $120,000 a year if you say stuff independently, which engineers usually don't. Right. That Steven is saying 87,000 users, but there was never more than 863 people logged on at a given time. Or hold on, maybe yeah, I don't think it ever hit more than yeah, it never hit more than 832 people online. So if you never had more than 832 people online simultaneously, you didn't incur thousands of dollars in server overhead. Like, he just did the numbers. That's what my company does for internet electricity comp for working home. It's an additional $125 for paycheck, but it's itemized out as a comp in the check rather than income pay. Right. Is he going to jail or what? I definitely think that Steven's lawyer's last round of bullshit towards Dawson is going to push Dawson to say, you know what? I'm done trying to play ball with this ass clown. I'm gonna just go to the FBI, the SEC, the FTC, and the San Diego Police Department, and I'm just gonna file reports. Like, at some point, your tomfoolery reaches a point where you're gonna say, you know what? No, fuck you. Like, I'm done playing with you. So, Zimmerman, if I was Rob Dawson, if Rob Dawson called me up right now and said, Jay, you're my vice president at cleaning this shit up, just get this shit cleaned up, my very first call would be to Zimmerman's lawyer, and I would say, I'm done playing. I've read all the other fucking emails. I'm done playing. If that shit's not returned to us by noon tomorrow, I will be at this address from 8 a.m. to noon. If this shit isn't returned to me in that window, then I'm just going to the police. I'm just going to the police and I'm filing the shit is stolen. I have the photo evidence of you removing it. You had no legal authority to remove it. So I'm gonna let the fucking police get involved, and then you can get arrested, and then that can look like shit for the rest of your miserable fucking career that you got charged, and then we're gonna fucking be done dealing with this civilly. Either bring me my fucking servers, because I'm the VP of getting this shit cleaned up, or I'm gonna go to the police and I'll have them get my fucking servers. Then I'm just gonna go to the police. I'm gonna say, hey, look, this asshole used to work here. He was terminated on this date. Here's the photographic evidence of him taking the shit. We tried to resolve it civilly, in good faith. Here's the email trail, but we tried to deal with it civilly. Fuck him. I want him investigated for grand theft. Not gonna get cute and clever with a bunch of fucking trade secret. No, grand theft. Those servers are worth money. That hardware is worth money. Fuck him. He stole them without authorization. Then let the cops show up and say, do you have resources of your former employer? No. Well, then what's this email? So either you're going to hurt yourself in your civil case and save yourself on your criminal case, or you're going to save your criminal case and go to jail. Are they yours? No. Did you remove them? Yes. The other people that I would be up to my fucking asshole with is all, like, honestly, Dawson and Bartels and Ogden and even Karamanis, although he wasn't on the board. You guys fucking shut down a company without any fucking appropriate steps to wind down the company and put it into mothball status. I don't blame the employees who were like, hey, this $10,000 fucking machine that I have, yeah, I wiped it and sold it because you owe me 2 weeks pay plus my 401k plus my benefits. And you fucking basically, like Bartel's email, he was like, yeah, fuck him. Aaron Bartels, I don't know him, haven't talked to him. He needs to not be part of the future of Intrepid Studios. Dawson needs to look at Bartels and say, I acknowledge that you're a shareholder and you were the guy that was supposed to detangle the shit. But after that email that you sent, like, there's shit you don't put in an email. Sorry. Yeah, fuck Aaron Bartels in particular, because he didn't have the first understanding of the industry, and he doesn't know enough about business to understand PTO is not, PTO is earned wages. Sick leave and PTO may be the same, they may be different, but if it is called PTO, you have to pay it out. It's already been accrued. You must pay it. It's mine. Like, it's my money in your bank. And when he said that, well, we're not going to pay that, and these people are bottom performers, and they're bottom performers, so you have a performance improvement plan, right? You have a PIP on all of those people. No? Well, then they weren't the bottom performers. I don't think Intrepid comes back from this, no matter who stays on or not, though. The reputation is so bad. I think there is a route for Ashes of Creation to potentially launch, but it would be a very large, the only way around that is granting unlimited PTO, which is a bad trick employers pay to get out of paying owed. No, because if it's accrued, if it's unlimited PTO, then I don't have anything. So it's a different process. If most companies, when they offer unlimited time off, it's LWOP. It's leave without pay. If it's PTO, it has to be tracked and accumulated. You have to know how you're accumulating it, and it has to be recorded to you every pay cycle. Because that's my money. Are you saying come back while being a part of Intrepid? Yeah. No, they wouldn't have to sell it. The things that would have to happen for Ashes of Creation to launch. Number one, Stephen Shreve can't be involved in it. John Moore can't be involved in it. And Aaron Bartels can't be involved in it. Those three people have to just be gone. Number two, you would have to accept the fact that every single system that you have is going to come out in the first iteration of the game as stripped down And then every system that gets stripped down has to be DLC. So, for example, the node system. The node system would come out with one type, right? With one election, right? With one appearance. And this right here reduces the amount of workload by 80%. The types are going to be DLC. The appearance is going to be DLC. The elections would be tied into that DLC. So what you would have to what you would have to do is explain to the players why you're doing that. Look, you can either have no game, or the launch of the game will be a skeleton, and then if we're profitable, we will put muscle and tissue and blood and skin on top of the skeleton. As it is right now, we have to launch the node system. But then internally, you would tell your development team, look, we're cutting out 85% of the system. But when you're laying the building blocks, the ideal state is there. Yeah, and if it's not accrued time, but still paid if you take it off, but there's no allotment for how many days you can take, then it's not accrued. They don't owe you any amount of money because it's an employee benefit. If you're no longer an employee there, they don't owe you shit, but it doesn't belong to you. It's not like I can say I want 2,080 hours of pay upon my termination because I want 1 year's salary because I could take 1 year paid time off because you have unlimited time off. No, it's a pool of money, not your money. If you're pulling it out of a general pool, it's not yours. That's why it's yours. We designate it as, we owe you 8 hours of time off. You accumulate 4 hours of PTO every paycheck. Cool. That's mine. So every 2 weeks, I get 4 hours, right? So at the end of the year, you owe me 104. You owe me 2 weeks pay plus almost 2.5 weeks pay. So I get 2.5 weeks vacation a year. If it's a general pool, if it's unlimited PTO is bullshit. They do that unlimited PTO because they know most people are going to maybe take a week a year because psychologically you feel guilty about taking shit that's not yours. I never did. I don't give a fuck. I never gave a fuck. My first 2 years as an officer in the military, I took very little leave. Going into my 3rd year, my commander got the MPF slip that says you must direct this officer to take 24 days of leave this year because he'll be in use or lose. My boss came to me and said, you've taken fucking 6 days of leave in 2 years? Yeah. Why? Because I'm fucking TDY all the time. It's like, I come back and I get, you give me a long weekend. I spend the long weekend with my family. Now I have fucking 24 days of leave this year that you can't deny me. Like, I'm going to fucking Disney. Well, I don't think we have time for you to go to Disney this year. Find time. Because I'm not going to be here. Because when I put in leave, I'm in use or lose, which means you have to fill out the form that says why I can't take leave. 3 of those forms, and I just go to A1 and I ask for a variance to carry 90 days, which is what I really wanted. And my boss was like, go take your fucking 3 weeks leave. So then I pissed him off because I never took 3 weeks leave. I took Monday through Friday. Because if you're in the local area on Monday and you're in the local area on Friday, you don't pay for the weekend. So, but Ashes could come out. The node system would have to be completely cut. The class system would have to get completely cut. And that would be dangerous. But you would have to have a sit-down conversation with the players. And you would have to say, look, we don't have the money to bridge the gap between the state of Intrepid Studios' version of Ashes of Creation and the one that we think we can bring to market. We have $120 million worth of investment, and we have maybe $10 million worth of product. We don't have another $90 million to put into this product, and we don't want to ask you for money, and this is going to be the key part. We don't want to ask you for money until it's at least somewhat playable. So we need to strip all the systems down to bare bones, get the game going in the right direction, and then build on it and iterate on it as we go. Like, for example, if they have 20 mobs done, if they have 20 functional mobs done, they do not need to have a 50-person fucking team. They have 20 mobs done? Okay. Then you need one artist, one animator, one monster combat designer. And then what needs to happen is you take the 20 that you have done. And I know this would suck, okay? I'm not saying this wouldn't be less suck. But you take the 20 monsters that you have done and you reskin them. A la Final Fantasy 1, where the fire wolves are red and the ice wolves are white and the earth wolves are brown and the air wolves are green. And I understand that would suck. But is anybody working on the game right now? No, because the owners of the game don't have a copy of the code because 2 people walked off with the servers and Steven just keeps doing nothing but putting roadblocks up under the banner of I'm doing what's best for Intrepid. No, you're not. You're doing what's best for Steven Sharif. Because you are less than a 5% owner of Intrepid. So you cannot say I'm doing what's best for Intrepid while the guy who owns 60% of the company with the guy that owns 15 to 18% next to him saying, look, we're the 78% holders of this company. You're the 4.4% owner of this company. You have a gun to our head. Is there some legal backing of an employer firing you because you take your PTO that you were due? If they try to say you can't take that number of days, like in your situation with the 3 weeks, there is a legal recourse because PTO is a paid entitlement. It is payroll. There are times where the employer will say to you, we can't let you be gone for 3 weeks consecutive right now. So what we're going to do is, clearly we understand you need a break. You take a week now and you can carry over. The easiest thing they can do is give you a variance or a waiver to the amount of maxed time off. Like, a great story involves my father. My father was an uneducated white Irish immigrant, but my father was really mechanically engineered inclined. My father got a job at a building. He was their night shift engineer. He later became their chief engineer. He later became their superintendent. The problem is, because he didn't have a college diploma, he could go no higher than superintendent. Well, the problem is that when my father was hired as the management track, they typoed on his contract. The engineers had unlimited PTO earning. Management was limited to 6 weeks. Well, nobody ever fixed that on my dad's contract. So on my dad's contract, time off maximum allowed, UNL, unlimited. So my mom got cancer. And right away, my dad said to my mom, what do you need from me? And at first she's like, well, I'm going to work out through the rest of the school year. My mom wrote scholarship packages for the seniors. My mom helped this one high school every year get $10 or $11 million in scholarships. My mom said, I can't give up on the kids because they're counting on me. My dad said, well, it's your life. Do what you want, right? So my mom worked throughout the end of the year. Well, while my mom was working, my dad was working. Now, some days he took off sick time to take care of my mom if she had to go to chemo or something. But for the most part, January till May, my dad kept going into work. Then my mom finished the school year. My mom took a turn for the worse. And my dad said, I'm going to need to take elongated leave, but I have a shit ton of sick time and a shit ton of personal time. I'll just start taking that. And they said, well, you know what? We're getting ready to sell this building. We'll just pay you out. My dad said, no, absolutely not. I won't agree to that. So my dad left. My dad earned 6 weeks of leave a year. My dad left in May. And his office was on a floor that they were converting, but his personal effects were still in the office. They can't move them. Part of the contract, part of the employment process. So they've got the whole fucking floor stripped down to the metal stud work. If you've ever seen aluminum studs in a high-rise building, they've got the whole fucking floor stripped down to the aluminum stud work, except my dad's office. It's literally exactly how he left it. Well, my dad just kept taking leave. He took a whole year's leave. Sick time and personal time. Used every scrap that he had. When he walked in after a year, they started yelling at him about how much money he cost them and incurred because he wouldn't ever come in and pick up his shit out of his office. And I was with my dad because my mom had passed at this point. My dad walked in. We had a couple of boxes. We were going to pick up my dad's personal stuff. And my dad looks at me and he says, boy, just put these in my office. So I walked over, I put them in his office. As I come back, my dad's like, and fuck you, I'll be back in 7.5 weeks to pick up my shit. Because I took a year off, which earned me 6 more weeks. And in the 6 weeks I'm off, it'll push me to another week. So fuck you for the way you just spoke to me. He peaced out. What was funny as fuck was over his career, they promoted less qualified people above him 3 times. My dad was retired for about 2 weeks. And the phone rings. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm up gaming. And I answer the phone. I was like, hello? And he's like, hey, Jay. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, it's blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, my dad's old boss. And he's like, yeah, is your dad around? Said, yeah, but he's going to be up in 3 hours. You're not family. I don't bother my father for you anymore. He's like, well, I really need to speak to him. I said, it's 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, sir. My dad doesn't work for you. He's like, will you please go wake up your father? I said, sure. Went upstairs. I said, Dad, it's your old boss. My dad looks at me and he's like, what the fuck he want? I fucking don't know, Dad. I'm like a 20-year-old fucking kid. Go answer the fucking phone. So my dad walks down the stairs, picks up the phone. Oh. Listens. My dad looks at me and he's like, make a pot of coffee. Okay, yes, sir. My dad's like, I will be there in an hour. When I arrive, there better be a check for me for $10,000 in the lobby. Doesn't matter how long I'm there. My minimum call-out fee is $10,000. That's fucking absurd. I can hear the guy on the phone. My dad's like, well, it's either $10,000 check is waiting for me when I walk in the lobby or I'm not coming. My dad hangs up. He's like, put that coffee in a thermos. And I was like, what the fuck? My dad's like, in fact, can you drive me? And I'm like, sure. We drive down. I go with my dad. Got my dad's tools. I think I was the tool monkey that day because I'm carrying my dad's fucking tools and fucking toolbox. I'm like, what the fuck are you carrying, asshole? My dad walks in. The fucking dumbasses who replaced my father because they had a college education. We get up to a floor. And the whole floor is fucking flooding. It's about the 47th, 48th floor in a high-rise. Water fucking everywhere. Water everywhere. And it's leaking down into the floors below it. My dad's laughing. My dad, he's like, yeah, y'all fucking stupid. And his boss is there. He's like, well, where's the water shut off? And he's like, it's exactly where I left it before you fired me. And he's like, where? My dad's like, I forgot what it's called. It's the fucking hammer with the hatchet back end. My dad's like, give me that. I reach in the toolbox to give it to him. He goes over to the wall. There's the fucking fire system cutoff valve. Fucking dumbasses had, when they remodeled, they had fucking drywalled over it. Is it the Halligan? Yeah. No, not quite that. Not quite that. Half hatchet. Axe hammer combo, but a half hatchet. My dad made $10,000 for an hour-long drive and to fucking cut a hole in some drywall. This is the problem we have. And it's like Steven. Steven is the type of guy that would say, put drywall up over that. And somebody would say, but we need to be able to get to that valve. And he'd be like, I know what I'm doing. Dude, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So is Ashes of Creation got any potential to get made? Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking Roofing Hammer, but I knew it had a name. They're good for shingles too, especially when people put shingles on top of shingles. You want to shoot those people too. But I think Ashes of Creation could get made. Do I think a complete new team of employees could work with the IP server structure? No, to be completely honest, here is where we get into the really big rub. Which one of these would be faster for the new Intrepid? One, to try to spend the next year making sense of the spaghetti code that is Ashes of Creation. Or two, bringing in people to build it over, but use the art assets, the animations that already exist. I think they almost have to say it's going to be faster to start over from scratch than it is to try to make sense of it. AI makes refactoring a few times cheaper though. There's nothing wrong. Okay, how can I say this? This little fucking doohickey down here, this little doohickey right here is 70% my coding, 30% Claude. What I have is I have a little server running on my upper screen, and then I have an HTML page. And the reason why I can't bring in the kick in the YouTube yet is because building a single program that brings everything in is proving to be difficult, and I'll eventually get it. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with using AI. The problem becomes when you use AI to fix the problem, but then you don't ask AI to teach you what you were doing wrong. There's nothing wrong with throwing something into Claude or Base 44 or ChatGPT, Codex, I think it's called now, and saying, hey, I'm trying to do this, and I can't figure it out. I don't think there's anything wrong with showing it what you're working on, but the two problems that come with that is ChatGPT is fucking terrible about going in a completely different direction than you want. And number two, like I said, if you don't earn the knowledge afterwards, then you're trusting the language learning model, and you're building on a system that you don't understand. It's the Malcolm Reynolds, no, not Malcolm Reynolds, Dr. Malcolm, Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park. You stood on the shoulders of giants. You didn't earn it for yourself. I don't think using AI when you're struggling with something is bad. If you then say, okay, how does that work? Then you take that, you post it into your smart book, and then that weekend you pull out your smart book, your learning lessons book, and say, okay, I got to get smart on this. I think the problem is too much of Ashes of Creation was clearly done with AI by unqualified people. Like, for example, they had a build engineer. Kevin Zhang, I think, was his name. Yeah, Kevin Zhang was their build engineer. His builds suck. His builds were absolutely dog shit. And I said this to Steven. I said, I should not have to go to 6 different places on my fucking PC. One of those 6 being my registry to uninstall your fucking game. Stop pushing this shit out until uninstall removes all of this bloat. That's what the fuck your build engineer should be doing. Your build engineer, like, there was a guy, he was building a single player game. The first thing he did was build his installer, his launcher, to then remove every trace of it. It wasn't perfect. but it was a hell of a lot better than Intrepid's. AI agents are tools. You get out what you put in. Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. Thinking of websites and stuff earlier, I'm surprised someone hasn't picked up the domain yet. It's sitting there. It's because you can't pick it up. It's in holding. Now, the Ashes of Creation wiki was put back up. I wouldn't go to it because it was put up by a Belize businessman who loaded a 3-year-old copy of it. But Steven tried to throw money at a problem that money can't fix. Now, before somebody had said, what makes anyone think that this game may be made? I don't think anybody serious believes this game is going to be made. I think the game could be made depending on the outcome of the lawsuit. Today, I was just going over the lawsuit. And then my show got canceled due to internet problems yesterday. And I try to stream 12 hours a week. It doesn't always work right, as we see. Somebody asked the question earlier about New World. And why did Amazon not sell New World for $25 million? Well, let me explain business for people that don't understand. New World and Amazon Game Studios has a $500 million minimum loss to it. They spent about $500 million designing Lumberyard, which is now open source 3D, and building New World and building a bunch of other games. Now, the reason why it's not a huge deal that they lost $500 million is because Amazon owns Twitch, Amazon owns Amazon Game Studios, Amazon owns all these things. So what happens is this parent company gets a $500 million loss. And now they take that $500 million loss and they spread it out. No, Lumberyard was not a reskinned CryEngine. Lumberyard was an engine based on CryEngine and then redeveloped. Lumberyard is now open source 3D. It's a CryEngine based engine that is pre-optimized for Amazon Web Services servers. The problem here is that $500 million for Amazon is a write-off, is a tax write-off. And remember, they may have taken those tax write-offs forward and backwards. Well, now if they suddenly sell the product, you run into an issue. If you sell the product for $25 million, some of your justification for write-offs goes away. Warner Brothers, the movie theater, the movie producers, they have, like, if you ever watch to the end of a Warner Brothers cartoon, you will get to the end and it'll say, this has been a presentation of Warner Brothers Distribution. That you will hear that audio thing at the end. Why? Because Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Distribution are two different companies. A lot of people don't like working on Warner Brothers movies because Warner Brothers transfers, or Warner Brothers Distribution charges Warner Brothers $250 million to distribute a movie. So if the movie only makes $100 million, they pay zero taxes because they paid another company $250 million to publicize it. It's why some of the child actors at on Harry Potter were pissed off because their take was a percentage, but the percentage of the take starts at negative $250 million. It's worth more dead than it is alive. It would look really bad if they value it $200 million for a tax write-off and then turn around and sell it for only $25 million. Yes, that's the problem. Because we took a $500 million write-off against this product. Cool. Now you sold it for $25 million. Well, then its valuation is $25 million. It's kind of like when Apple declared their one campus worth $1. And the senator who was interrogating the Apple people said, "You value that center at $1? Yeah, we value that center at $1. And then I forgot the dollar amount he said. He's like, well, I'll buy it for you for $10,000. It's a multi-million-dollar fucking working campus. He's like, we're not interested in selling. He said, yeah, but if you value it at $1 and I offer you 10,000 for it, you have to take that to your shareholders because I'm offering you 10,000% over its valuation. The Apple lawyer kind of leaned forward. They said, we'll get that taken care of. Yeah, because you are by law required to take that offer to your shareholders. I'm offering you 10,000% over its value. So then they realigned the valuation of the campus and paid their taxes on it. Because, again, the SEC has very specific rules. Now, talk about New World. How many copies of New World did they sell? At least 4.5 million, but not 20. Why? Because 4.5 million appears in their shareholders' reports and 20 million doesn't. Remember, you can lie to your customers, you can lie to your employees, you can lie to the media, you cannot lie in your shareholder report. Blizzard has gotten their PP slapped for it. Amazon got slapped for it. You cannot lie to your shareholders. You can mislead your shareholders as long as every factoid you put together is true and you allow them to create the aggregate and reach their own conclusions. It's why Blizzard's quarters for all of their games, and I don't know if they still do it. I don't own Blizzard stock anymore. I sold that shit after Don't You Guys Have Phones. Paid for my vacations that year. If they have 1 month that's January, February, March, or 1 quarter that's January, February, March, and one that's February, March, April, and one that's March, April, May, well, then it becomes really difficult for you to take their monthly average user data that they're giving you because they're not giving you every game's MAU by quarter. They're giving you every game's MAU by their quarter, but they're all staggered. So, well, we're saying that we had 4.25 million average users for WoW in this quarter. And then we had 7 million for Hearthstone and 4 million for Heroes of the Storm. So then you and your brain go 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 7 is 15. So they have 15 million monthly average users. Yeah. And they don't correct you. Sure. But what you don't realize is that you're taking an average of 3 data sets that are sequentially off. They do that on purpose. Why do you think this month is aligned like this and then the new content drops inside of that packaging quarter? Because they know inside the packaging quarter, they spike users, but they don't tell you the month's users. They tell you the monthly average users over 3 months. So why is Overwatch Overwatch getting a major content update in a different MAU or a different quarter than World of Warcraft? It's because they know some World of Warcraft players go over to play Overwatch. They know some Overwatch players go over to play WoW. They want to make sure they best encapsulate the aggregate data to confuse you. It's why my personal belief should be your quarters have to be aligned to your fiscal year. If your fiscal year is January to December, then January, February, March has to be your first quarter. If you run in alignment with the government's fiscal year, then October, November, December has to be your first quarter. None of this, each product has its own no, that's bullshit. You know what you're doing, I know what you're doing, we all know what you're doing, but the customer's too fucking dumb to understand it. They don't get it. But with that said, I'm out of town starting on Friday. I'll be here for Mondays and Wednesdays streams. I have a feeling that something will happen starting next Friday through the following Friday, because that's when I'm on my last Disney vacation for the year. And it seems like all 3 times so far this year I've gone to Disney, Ash's shit has dropped. For the people that are looking for the legal paperwork that I showed, that's all in my Discord. If somebody wants it, I will generally pop it to you. The problem is I don't personally like sharing PDFs because I don't need somebody who gets a fucking virus on their computer blame me for the PDF. They're on my server. You want to pop in, you want to grab them, great. If you want to take them and share them with other people, You do you. I've never felt comfortable sharing PDFs because they trigger all my antivirus software shit. They're like, warning, macro. I'm like, whatever, fuck off. Like, I usually open them in a standalone box anyway. If you want them, great. They're on my Discord. If you don't want them, great. No problem. The next time I'll do an Ashes show is the next time there's something worthy to do an Ashes show about. Until then, fuck Steven and him taking all our money and eating DoorDash with it.
I wonder if the organic meat sack that runs this channel knows a lot of these sponsors don't sponsor us anymore.
They were longtime sponsors. The credits are fine.
Do we get paid? Is any of this sponsorship money for Gail, Daisy, the Chaos Fund?
You are a figment of Jalan's imagination.